ESPN soccer analyst Fernando Palomo.
He was the trademark of what a great player was for me growing up. And then came Maradona, and then came Messi, but everybody just following on the footsteps of the king of the sport. He transcended the game. He became an ambassador for the sport.
NFL Cowboys running back Tony Pollard out tonight against the Titans because of a thigh bruise. The Titans will start quarterback Josh Dobbs 8 days after signing him off the Lions practice squad. Rookie Malik Willis has struggled, while starter Ryan Tannehill remains out the remainder of the regular season following ankle surgery. The Chargers designated edge rusher Joey Bosa to return from IR. He's been out most of this season recovering from groin surgery. Bosa's return certainly would be a significant boost defensively for playoff-bound Los Angeles.
Hi, this is Max Kellerman from Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. All of us here at ESPN Radio would like to wish you happy holidays and a happy new year.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And welcome in. Thursday edition of After Further Review. Matt Musso filling in for Matt Moscona. Got Cade Wazan on the board. Taylor Sharp on the video. Got a jam-packed show for you here on this Thursday. Glenn West, Go247, is going to join the show next segment to talk LSU basketball. The Matt McMahon era in the SEC gets off to a 1-0 start, 60-57 LSU over the Hogs last night in a raucous PMAX. We'll talk to Glenn about that game and get a little bit of a preview of the trip to Rupp scheduled for Saturday. Darren Tietgen stops by in his normal spot for Fantasy Blitz. If you're in fantasy playoffs, need some personalized fantasy football advice, be here for that. You can go ahead and start getting your questions in for that now. Bayou Ford YouTube chat or tweet them at me at Musso Matthew, and we'll get as many of those into Darren as we can to close the first hour. We'll head up to Purdue, preview the Boilermakers with Sam King of the Journal and Courier. He covers Purdue there, and talk about all things Citrus Bowl. How's Purdue really going to look when you consider the fact all their opt-outs and interim head coach? It's a situation similar, not apples to apples, but similar to, of course, LSU in the Texas Bowl. Paul Nolan here in his normal spot to give you some free winners at 4:30. Todd Graffinini, the voice of the Pels. Graf will be here at 5 to recap a career-high night for Zion Williamson and a comeback victory for the Pels over the Timberwolves, now winners of 4 straight and back atop the Western Conference standings. And a Mike Triplett in his normal spot to talk Saints-Eagles. There'll be plenty of injury report talk there for sure. Injury report is out, and it's not great for New Orleans, and it's getting a little bit better for the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, if the Saints want to backdoor, and that's an understatement, backdoor their way into the playoffs, they need to win out, and they need the Buccaneers to lose out, and that starts this weekend in Philadelphia. But we will start with LSU football. We will start with Keyshawn Boutte and the LSU wide receiver room. So a strange year surrounding Keyshawn Boutte came to a conclusion yesterday afternoon, and it was a strange afternoon fittingly, right? Everybody knows, of course, obviously Keyshawn announces he's coming back, wants to win a national championship, will return to LSU for his senior year, and it shocked everybody. It really, really did. I mean, there's not necessarily always that many surprises when it comes to things like this. You normally have a pretty good idea of where guys are leaning or whatnot, and stuff starts to leak out. That one genuinely surprised everyone. And then yesterday afternoon, LSU releases a statement saying that Keyshawn would be unavailable for the Citrus Bowl, but was still enrolled at LSU. And the statement itself, being as vague as it was, added to just the oddness, the confusion of the whole situation, because with the statement being that vague, it allowed for just so much speculation on fans' parts, on media's parts, as to what the reason is. And look, you heard a lot about rumors about academic ineligibility. You heard rumors about potentially violation of team rules and then taking off. You heard rumors about, you know what, look, he got more evaluation done and heard better projections for himself going forward and decided to take that route. With the statement being as vague as it is, you're kind of left to draw your own conclusions. So I will let you do that. The one thing I will say is the most insane reason people have come up with is that it has to do with Jaden Daniels returning, which is just stupid, quite honestly. I mean, if that was the case, why wouldn't he have just done it immediately when Jaden Daniels announced that he was returning, right? Oh, Jaden Daniels is coming back. Keyshawn Boutte's I'm out. No, that's absurd, and that is not the reason. If you want to pick from many other rumors that we just went through, go ahead, pick. The point is, Keyshawn Boutte's going to the draft. That's it. And quite honestly, this is where we all expected to be in general, right? We just talked about how much of a surprise it was that Keyshawn Boutte decided to return initially to LSU for his senior year. No one thought that going into the beginning of this year. Nobody really thought that throughout the season when production was down for Keyshawn in that sense. Everyone expected to be in this position that LSU is in right now. Keyshawn Boutte heading to the draft. It stings a little bit more with the way it went down, obviously, because you fired up that he's coming back and then he's out the door. But it's where you expect it to be. Now, when you look forward and you see in the immediate is the bowl game, and you have 4 scholarship wide receivers right now. Malik Neighbors, Kyron Lacey, Brian Thomas Jr., and Landon Ibieta. That's the 4 scholarship wide receivers that LSU has available for the Citrus Bowl against Florida State. Now, against Purdue. Florida State's also playing in Orlando this afternoon, and then we'll play LSU in Orlando to open this season next year. But Purdue, 4 scholarship wide receivers. Now, when you talk about next year, you're still in a really good spot, right? I mean, look at the wide receiver room for LSU, and look at what you're going to add. And it kind of goes back to the same thing, right? You expect it to be in this spot, so you are prepared for it. You got there a different way, but you are prepared for it. You'll return those 4 guys that we just named. Chris Hilton will come back off of injury. And then in your recruiting class, Shelton Sampson, that guy's pretty darn good. Jaylen Brown, that guy's pretty darn good. Kyle Parker could be one of the steals of the recruiting class out of Lovejoy in Texas. And oh, by the way, you added Aaron Anderson out of the transfer portal. You're set up just fine in that room going forward. And we say it all the time, right? LSU's never going to be hurting for skill position players because of a guy like Shelton Sampson going to school right down the road from your campus. 5-star freak show wide receiver. And you get him in the boat, and that's fine. Aaron Anderson can really be, again, odd way for him to end up at LSU, leaving New Orleans, going to Bama, and then transferring back. But another 5-star from the state, you're just never going to be hurting there. And you look at Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, that's a hell of a 1-2 to return. A hell of a. Brian Thomas was second on this team in receiving touchdowns this year. Like, he very quietly had an awesome season and showed big playability. So you're going to bring that guy back. You're going to be just fine in that room going forward. It stinks the way you got there. But again, it's a position you thought you'd be in. For what it's worth, Brian Kelly did release a statement yesterday evening regarding the Keyshawn Boutte news of him deciding to declare for the NFL draft, saying, quote, "We support Keyshawn in his decision. He went through a thoughtful process and ultimately decided this was in his best interest. We appreciate all he did during his time at LSU and wish him well." The last thing I'll say on this before heading to break is I think Keyshawn gets a little bit of a tough rap because of this year, mainly, if we're being honest. And just how it's kind of been up and down. He gets painted more as a guy who doesn't care, doesn't want to be there, was checked out, all of that. And a lot of it stems from the Florida State game, and I get it. That was a bad look. But the rest of the season was a better look. Keyshawn Boutte at any time could have opted out, right? I mean, you've seen players do that plenty across college football, and he didn't. And he initially made the decision for whatever his reasons were. If you want to believe what they were at the time, if you still want to believe that now, go ahead. If you don't, fine, I don't care. But Keyshawn Boutte, before this year, any time he had missed was injury related. The guy shattered his ankle against Kentucky last year. That's why he missed the rest of the season last year, right? Obviously. He missed the game this year for the birth of a child. It's not like Keyshawn Boutte was a constant issue publicly for LSU football or was suspended multiple games or anything like that where you'd see other players get that rap of, oh, you know, it's always something, right? And that's kind of the rap he's gotten. And I don't necessarily know if he fully deserves that. I mean, you've seen plenty of LSU players publicly screw up, for lack of a better term. You never really saw that with Keyshawn Boutte. So, look, yeah, it stinks the way it all went down for him to leave, but ultimately you wish that guy the best and in the next level. And look, Keyshawn should have a really, really good NFL career. I think that's a guy who, if he goes and answers some tough questions at the combine, which he will have to do, but if he gives the right answers to that and he tests off the charts like he should, like an athlete of his caliber should, you're looking at a guy who could sneak back into the late first round or at worst go early second round and could potentially end up being one of the steals of the NFL draft. So wishing best, realize that, again, sucked the way you got here, but this is where you expect it to be going into the season and throughout the season, and ultimately it's where you are. Go forward into the bowl game, go forward into 2023 because you're still going to be pretty darn good. We're going to grab a break, come back on the other side, talk some LSU basketball. Matt McMahon got his first SEC win of the season, taking down the 9th-ranked Arkansas Razorbacks in the PMAC last night. Glenn West of Go247 will join us to recap that game next here on AFR.
AFR.
If you are even thinking about selling your home, I'm going to give you a phone number. I'm going to give you the only phone number that you will need. I'm going to give you Darren James's phone number. It's Darren's cell. Like, you can call this number, you can text this number, and you are literally calling or texting the phone number that Darren James has in his pocket or on his hip. I'm talking about the realtor that sells more homes than anybody. A guy on the Wall Street Journal is listed the top 1,000 realtors in America based on the number of homes sold. You ready? 335-7666. 335-7666 or agent225.com. Of course, you can go to the website, agent225.com. If you need to sell your home, you need to maximize your return on the home, you want a hassle-free, pleasant experience, you need Darren James. 335-7666 or agent225.com. If you need to sell your home, you need Darren James. Agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on a new 2022 Ford F-150, plus no payments for 90 days and 2.9% APR for 72 months. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit. Let's go, defense!
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community. We are
the Tigers.
We get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
You ever heard the tale of the misunderstood bull? A menacing beast who was born to float, a force of nature. The embodiment of grace. Quite grand, yet quiet and nimble. The Infiniti QX80.
Experience the Infiniti QX80 at your local Infiniti retailer.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. 288-8138, 288-8138, or ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows. Beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, vinyl siding. They do it all. And at Relief Windows, they will never take $1 from you until you are thrilled with the work. Seriously, no deposit, no down payment. They do not want $1 from you until you are thrilled with the work that they do. That's Relief Windows. And what a time of year. We are moving to the winter months, and this is the time of year when those leaky, drafty windows can become costly. Of course, lets the cold air in, the warm air from your heater out. Make your home more energy efficient. Lower your monthly energy bills. Increase your home's resale value with energy efficient replacement windows from Relief Windows. 288-8138 or reliefwindows.com.
Back here on After Further Review, LSU basketball, they get the win last night to open SEC play. Matt McMahon starts 1-0 as the LSU head coach in SEC play, 60-57 over the 9th-ranked Arkansas Razorbacks in front of a raucous crowd in the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. Recap that game now. We welcome on Go247's Glenn West. Glenn, we appreciate the time. How are you?
I'm doing great, Matthew. How are you?
I'm doing awesome, man. So, look, I don't know if many people had that one last night, LSU coming away with that win, but it was an impressive defensive showing, especially in the first half. That's kind of where I want to start because LSU in general has just been trying to find consistency on defense, on offense. It seemed like if one was working, the other necessarily wasn't. What kind of changed for them defensively last night where they were able to hold the number 9 team in the country under 60 points for the first time this season?
Yeah, I would say first and foremost, we got a great look at kind of what Matt McMahon does extremely well and kind of what he was known for coming in, and that was making in-game adjustments. I think what you saw really early in that game is Arkansas was getting some clean looks. They weren't necessarily going in, but McMahon took notice to that, and one of the areas that LSU's really struggled this year has been in one-on-one matchups in terms of just guys losing on the rotations, guys losing, just in one-on-one situations. And so what you saw was him kind of go into a little bit of a zone, and that really kind of threw off Arkansas in terms of just how the kind of shots that they were creating for a lot of that first half. And, LSU struggled offensively too. I mean, they held Arkansas to about a 5-minute stretch there without scoring a single point, which really I thought was, if you look back on that game and LSU loses, could have been a really poor just kind of way in which LSU really should have taken advantage some more of that opportunity with Arkansas going scoreless there for 5 minutes. But really thought LSU played well defensively, making those adjustments. The rim protection was a lot better in the first half than it was in the second half, but that's really what you saw there in that first half and why Arkansas struggled so much to get some good looks.
You mentioned the offensive struggles for LSU as well, and of course, 60 points. Yeah, that's nothing to write home about. And it's funny because going into the game, KJ Williams is all the rage. Can Adam Miller break out of a shooting slump? There's a bunch of hype about Cam Hayes, and in the end, it's two guys with SEC ties, Trey Hannibal and Derek Fountain, that kind of steal the show. Let's start with Hannibal. Obviously, the 19 points off the bench. What was working so well for him? Because that was by far his best game so far in an LSU uniform.
Yeah, he was fantastic. The gossip or the scouting report coming in on him is, he is such a downhill player. He relies so much on being able to get to the rim and converting on those attempts at the rim. And he'd really struggled, I think, in the first month or so of the season. And he kind of gotten a little bit buried there in the depth chart. But credit to Coach McMahon for sticking with this guy, a guy he knows very well going back to his Murray State days. But Trey had a great game. I think, it really starts with him and being able to attack the rim relentlessly. And it was something we talked with him after the game about. He's just always had that kind of ferociousness at going to the basket. He knows his strengths. He knows what his weakness is, and that's kind of shooting from the perimeter. He did hit 1 3 last night, but obviously the strength of his game is getting to the basket, drawing contact, and finishing through contact as well. And he was tremendous. They don't win that game last night without him, without Derek Fountain, particularly in the second half. They scored 21 of the Tigers' 36 points in the second half. So they were the offense for a lot of respects in that second half.
And Glenn, Derek Fountain, it feels like it's kind of been that way for him the last few weeks. At least especially going back to the Wake Forest game, he's really started to emerge for LSU, and it's added another dimension to this team.
Yeah, he's the nucleus of what they do defensively. I think he's definitely their most efficient player in terms of defensive efficiency and how he defends the rim, how he goes about his business on defense. He gives them a lot of energy, a lot of effort. You saw him diving on the floor a number of times last night. He goes up and he grabs rebounds. He's physical at the point of attack. He had another double-double last night. I think that's the second one as a starter here in his 5 or 6 starts he's had. So really important player that, again, these are both two guys, talking about Hannibal and Fountain, that kind of struggled earlier in the year. They didn't have a really defined role, and then a couple games into the season, you really get to see Fountain explode out of the second unit, and he's really carried that ever since. And he's been such a huge part of LSU's defensive identity, and now you're seeing him get some offensive rebounds and putbacks and drawing and ones, and he's just been really, really crucial to LSU team that's kind of struggled, to convert efficiently in 2-point range. He's been one of their more efficient guys in that area.
So it's one game. I fully understand that, but again, not one that many thought you were probably going to grab going in. What does this do to change the outlook potentially maybe for you on LSU season in the SEC? Because the schedule is very front-loaded. Missouri looks awesome. You have to play them twice as well now. How much does this impact maybe where your perception on where you had them going into the SEC play and now one game in?
It does change it a little bit. LSU has played in a lot of these tight contests this season. I think that's the one part about this non-conference schedule. Everyone wants to talk about LSU was in so many close games in a non-conference schedule that they should have handled pretty easily. But I think what that did is it allowed LSU to get in those late game situations, have those early opportunities on who you could rely on in those situations. And I think what's been really great about this team is that it's been really a different guy every game that's helping lead this team right now. And so I think that is a really positive outlook on what you can have, going into conference play as you dive deeper into this schedule. If you can have guys like Hannibal step up on a given night, Cam Hayes stepped out, Fountain, KJ Williams, Adam Miller's had his moments as well. So when you have so many guys that can step up for you in those moments, I think it does change the outlook of what this team could be. I'm not going to go out here and say LSU's going to win 15 conference games or anything like that, but I do think that they're going to be a lot more competitive because they've been in those late game situations down the stretch, and if they can weasel their way, grit, tough their way into some of these late game situations again against Kentucky's, against the A&M's, the Floridas, the Alabamas of the world. I give them a shot to win some of those games. I think they've proven that they can be a really good lockdown defensive team at the end of these games, and I think that's the first step in being able to close out some of these upsets.
Talking with Glenn West, go 247. He's on Twitter at GlennWest21. Follow him there. Glenn, before I let you go, a thought on the game against Kentucky coming up Saturday in Rupp Arena. Obviously, look, the Wildcats, they got upset last night by Missouri. LSU pulled off the upset against Arkansas. So it's kind of an interesting angle going in. I mean, it's a bit of a maybe potentially letdown spot for LSU, a get-right spot potentially for Kentucky. Oscar Tshiebwe, of course, back, still just racking up massive double-doubles. How does LSU match up against Kentucky? An early thought on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a tough matchup for Tshiebwe. I mean, I think you're going to have to really rely on Derek Fountain there to kind of try to hold him in check. He's such a rebounding machine, and one of the areas LSU's really struggled with is offensive rebound or defensive rebounding, and Kentucky's a pretty good offensive rebounding team. That's going to be an area LSU's going to have to focus on, but this is going to be another tough matchup. I think, the first game on the road in the SEC for LSU at Rupp Arena, that's a place that gets really rowdy. The crowd gets into it right from the tip. So this is going to be another learning experience. I'm not going to go in here and say that LSU's going to pull off another upset. I think Kentucky, probably finds a way to win this game at home in a kind of must-win situation early for them in conference play. But LSU, they've proven this year that if they can get in some of these tight games and can be a team that can really surprise you at the end of these games by the way they play defensively and by the effort that they give really throughout the entire game. So it's going to be another challenge. Xavier Wheeler is another guy who has a lot of SEC experience, and he's really good as well. So it's going to be a tough battle for sure.
LSU and Kentucky, 7 p.m. from Rupp Arena on Saturday night. You can hear it on Eagle 98.1 or watch it on ESPN. Glenn, we appreciate the time, man. Thank you, and we'll do it again soon.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. That is Glenn West. Go 247. Again, follow him on Twitter at GlennWest21. It was a massive win for LSU last night. There's really no other way around it. Look, I sat here filling in for Matt on Tuesday, and I told you I thought LSU was going to win 7 games in the SEC. And, again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they're going to make a run at this thing now, but that is a huge one to get in going over that total that I said at 7. I mean, LSU, you bring potentially going 500 in conference play. Like if you can get to 9-9, you're going to be knocking on the door potentially to sneak into the NCAA tournament, potentially, depending on who you beat, if you get a couple more quality wins. That's LSU's first quad 1 win of the season, and your net only went from 81 to 75. But that definitely changes the outlook for me on the season. I'm, again, not saying they're going to make a run, but I'm starting to reconsider my the projection of 7 wins for LSU. And, I mean, man, if you could get that out of Trey Hannibal more, that guy, the physicality that he plays with, just downhill. I mean, he looks like a running back going between tackles when he drives the lane. It was impressive to watch. And, look, it wasn't a great, I know Tuesday as well, we talked about the struggles they've had at the free throw line. It wasn't a great free throw shooting night for them, but Adam Miller made the 2 that you really needed down the stretch. His only 2 free throw attempts of the game and nailed both of them. So, I mean, look, in contrast, Arkansas, you had your best free throw shooter at the line shooting a 1-and-1, and he misses the front end of the 1-and-1. He can't convert. That's how you lose games on the road, and that's how you, especially on the road, that's how you lose games in general in college basketball for sure. You don't make your free throws late in games, you're going to lose. LSU did. Arkansas didn't. And the other thing to point out, Arkansas was elite at turning teams over and converting those turnovers into points. That did not happen last night. LSU turned the ball over 10 times. Arkansas had 4 points off of those 10 turnovers. LSU, in contrast, got 13 points off of 10 Arkansas turnovers. That is a massive stat in that ball game. So a great win. A great atmosphere in the PMAC. I wasn't there, but, man, you could feel it through the television. And that was great to see. That was LSU's 13th straight home victory. LSU, they announced that after 13th straight home victory dating back to last season. So, man, keep packing the PMAC. Get in there, support the Tigers as they're off to a 1-0 start in conference play in year 1 under Matt McMahon. We're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. We'll go around the SEC. We will talk potential shakeup in Big Ten leadership that Pete Thamel reported earlier today. Fantasy Blitz with Darren Teakin still to come at the end of this hour. Get your questions and you can tweet them at me, Musso Matthew, or get them into the Bayou Ford YouTube chat. If you need personalized fantasy football advice, get your questions in for Darren Teakin of whotostart.com. That's coming up at the end of this hour. Stay here. It's After Further Review on a Thursday.
AFR.
Take 60 seconds. Remind you about our friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana. For years, I've told you so many examples of your friends and neighbors, our listeners, who have called Insurance Network of Louisiana. This process is so easy. I don't want it to be intimidating because sometimes people think insurance, I don't know, I don't know what my coverage is. I haven't looked at it in so long. Don't be intimidated. At Insurance Network of Louisiana, the guys and gals over there are awesome, and they can walk you through the entire process. It's easy. It starts with one phone call. You call Insurance Network of Louisiana, they take a little bit of information, and then they go shop. They do all the work for you. And then they'll come back with you and let you know if they were able to find you better coverage for less money. It's basically like this, the analogy I give. Would you hire an agent if you were an athlete that could only negotiate with one team? Or would you rather hire an agent that can negotiate the best deal among all the teams? That's Insurance Network of Louisiana. 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
AFR.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Nearly half of children in foster care drop out of school. But you can rewrite that story. Change a child's story. Become a volunteer today.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. The former comptroller at the Capital Area Transit System sued the bus system after a leaked drug test showed he tested positive for methamphetamine. John Cutrone was terminated in the fall following bills not being paid on time and employees' health insurance being in limbo. Katz says it's investigating the allegations in the lawsuit. His lawyer tonight is defending Cutrone and saying the drug test violated his rights. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
This winter, meet the heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Season of Performance.
This winter, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the Integra.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona. Presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Brought to you by DraftKings, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Look, you got so much to bet on right now. College football bowl games going on. The NBA, NFL season is in full swing, of course, as we move toward the playoffs. You can bet on all of it at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Remember, all throughout the month of December, I've been telling you about this amazing promo from DraftKings. If you're a Pels fan, how about a no-sweat bet on every Pels game in the month of December? That's right. Make a bet on... You got to opt in, okay? So go to the app, the DraftKings app. Got to opt in, and you got to use the promo code Baton Rouge. Make a no-sweat bet. Bet any Pels game, every Pels game, all throughout the month of December. If you lose, no worries. I'll give you your money back in a free bet at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Get engaged, y'all. So much going on right now with bowl season here, the NBA, every single night of the week. Bet like I do with the DraftKings Sportsbook app. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select purchases only. Max reward limits apply. One free bet issued based on amount of initial bet. Eligibility restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537.
Darren Teagan, Fantasy Blitz to close the hour in the next segment. Get your questions in. If you need personalized fantasy football advice, you're hanging around your playoffs or even in your championship game this week for the NFL. Get your questions in, whotostart.com. Darren Teagan will be with us to close the hour in the next segment. Did you see the report from Pete Thamel earlier today regarding Kevin Warren, the commissioner of the Big 12? If you didn't, Pete Thamel of ESPN reports that Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren has emerged as a strong candidate to be the next president of the Chicago Bears. Warren is one of the final candidates, and it's been a lengthy search for the Bears, all the way back to the summer, as a matter of fact. And sources are saying that Warren remains engaged after this lengthy search, and he's a serious enough candidate that he interviewed in person. Now, Kevin Warren does have experience as an NFL executive with the Minnesota Vikings. He was the chief operating officer of that franchise, and that's one reason he's been appealing to the Chicago Bears. He helped in a role in building the new stadium that Minnesota plays in, which is something that Chicago is working on as well. They've purchased like over 300 acres or so in a Chicago suburb. Now, it is unknown who Warren has informed of the Bears' candidacy. It hasn't been wildly circulated. The Big Ten did release a statement earlier today about it that I will get to momentarily. But this is interesting for a couple different reasons. Number one is the expansion that Kevin Warren has led as commissioner of the Big Ten. I mean, he is responsible for USC and UCLA being added to that league, a record $7 billion new television contract negotiation that he was at the head of, and he's been extremely vocal on wanting more expansion in the Big 12, right? We all remember him talking about how aggressive they were going to be, and they're not done. Now, there's been some pushback internally from the Big 10 about that, and for right now, they'll go forward as a 16-team league. But it's interesting to see all the strides he made since taking over, and remember, he took over in the COVID year and got a lot of criticism for the way the Big 10 and he himself handled college football during the pandemic. But since then, it's just kind of been on an upward trajectory and looks like he could be out the door. I mean, it's something that we'll definitely continue to keep you updated on. Here was the Big Ten's statement on Kevin Warren and his status as a candidate for the Chicago Bears CEO and president job. Quote, over the course of 3 decades in professional and collegiate sports, Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren regularly receives unique opportunities and requests for his expertise from leaders across a variety of industries, ranging from professional sports ownership groups to private equity firms. The commissioner utilizes each occurrence to listen, learn, and assist every stakeholder in the most appropriate and effective manner. The commissioner remains focused on the Big Ten Conference, its 14-member institutions, and over 10,000 student athletes in both regular season and postseason play, end quote. Well, look, they're telling you he remains focused. What else are they going to say? It is worth noting that the sources speaking to Thamel mentioned the fact that he's still involved in this search. You don't normally see that from a sitting college commissioner to be involved this late. It certainly seems like he is a serious candidate, and if he's not the top candidate, he's definitely one of them. Another interesting note about how focused Kevin Warren remains. The Big Ten, the conference with 2 teams in the college football playoff, yeah, he's not slated to attend either of those games, which is incredibly rare. So keep an eye on that, man. Kevin Warren could be heading back to the NFL as the president and CEO of the Chicago Bears. All right. Right now, let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions.
Go through the bowl games and college basketball games from last night in the Southeastern Conference. We'll start with the bowl games. Arkansas, they won a wild Liberty Bowl over the Kansas Jayhawks, dashing the hopes of a winning season in Lawrence. I'll be honest, I was rooting for it, but it didn't happen. Big night for KJ Jefferson. 3 total touchdowns, $130 on the ground, 287 through the air for KJ, and the Razorbacks win it 55-53 in triple overtime. Remember, new overtime rules, goes to a 2-point shootout. Now the Jayhawks tried to go Philly special and missed a wide open tight end in the end zone, did not even throw him the ball, as a matter of fact, and would lose 55-53. The Ole Miss Rebels, they fell at the hands of the Texas Tech Red Raiders. 5 turnovers did Ole Miss in, and 4 of them coming from Jackson Dart. Texas Tech wins at 42-25, really able to pull away in the second quarter, outscoring the Rebs 16-0. So Ole Miss's season ends 8-5 after starting 7-0. Basketball scores last night for the SEC. Of course, LSU defeated Arkansas 60-57. Tennessee squeaked by the Ole Miss Rebels. That's 7th-ranked Tennessee. Santiago Vescovi led the way for the Vols with 22 points. They improved to 11-2, 1-0 in the league. 63-59 was the victory there. Alabama, the 8th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide, defeated 21st-ranked Mississippi State 78-67. Really were able to pull away in the second half. Freshman forward Brandon Miller for Alabama, double-double, 19 and 11. The Tide now 11-2 overall, 1-0 in SEC play. Mississippi State 11-2, 0-1. Missouri with the upset of the night over 19th-ranked Kentucky, 89-75. Kobe Brown, 30.6 boards for the Missouri Tigers. Of course, Oscar Tshiebwe for Kentucky, just another monster double-double, 23 and 19. But the Wildcats suffered their 4th loss on the season, and Missouri might be pretty good, y'all. Like, LSU's got to play them twice this year. Missouri might be solid. I mean, they skunked a nationally ranked Illinois team and then upset Kentucky by double digits last night. That's 2 games in a row that's happened. They'll face number 9 Arkansas this weekend. See if they can't go through the toughest stretch of their schedule, facing 3 straight ranked teams. They potentially could go 3-0. Auburn, 20th ranked in the country. They defeated Florida last night. Broom, forward for Auburn, led the way. 14 points, 11 rebounds, 61-58 was your final. 11-2 Auburn, now 1-0 in the SEC. Florida falls to 7-6. And then Georgia, they squeaked by Rider. They did not open SEC play yet. Instead, they had a game against Rider and won 78-72. Georgia's 10-3, but maybe that record is a tad deceiving. SEC games tonight on the hardwood for you. There are none Friday. Vanderbilt is in action. Texas A&M and South Carolina. None of those are league games. That's around the SEC, and it's brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products every day here on AFR. All right, getting set to close out the hour. Next, still plenty to come. Of course, Darren Teagan will be with us to close out the hour in the next segment. Fantasy football advice there. And then we have Sam King covering Purdue in the next hour, Paul Nolan as well, Todd Graffinini, Mike Triplett, all still to come on a Thursday edition of AFR. We will grab a break, come back, close out hour number 1 next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine in or carry out 24 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, and sports on TV. What more could you possibly want? How about sandwiches? Well, they've got those. What about salads? Pluckers actually has really underrated salads. Giant, gorgeous, fresh salads. You can actually eat healthy at Pluckers. Or you could just binge. Award-winning jumbo chicken wings tossed in your favorite sauce. You want to create your own menu item? Do it. They encourage the creativity. Great sides as well, like the cheese fries, the El Guapo dip, maybe the homemade blue cheese potato chips, holy macaroni, fried pickles. They got it all at Pluckers. Nicholson, just south of campus. Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. The best place to watch the game, which game? Any game, is at Pluckers. because you can eat wings, drink beer, and watch sports on TV. Remember, Pluckers, if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. After further review, this is the Fantasy Football Blitz.
Do you know who I am?
Powered by whotostart.com.
Who the hell are you?
whotostart.com.
Hello.
The Fantasy Football Blitz.
Who the pittance?
This is the Fantasy Football Blitz, powered by whotostart.com on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 104.5ESPN.com.
All right, fantasy leagues wrapping up. Championship games getting underway. Time to welcome on Darren Teakin for another week of the Fantasy Blitz. whotostart.com. Darren Teakin. Darren, how are you?
I'm doing good. Looking forward to championship weekend here for a lot of us fantasy footballers.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're still alive, you're one of the select few here, and see if you can't get that trophy, and then hand out the embarrassing punishment that many people who finish last in their leagues have to suffer. If you have questions for Darren, go ahead and get them in. You can put them in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat. You can tweet them at me at Musso Matthew. Darren, let's start with tonight's game, though, first, as always. Cowboys and Titans. Looks like Josh Dobbs going to get the start for the Tennessee Titans tonight. Who are we keeping an eye on Thursday Night Football?
Well, this is just going to be an ugly game. Yeah. Honestly, it's going to be not much for the Titans to play for. I believe that next week is kind of for all the marbles. This game doesn't really mean anything. So they're sitting Derrick Henry. They're sitting. They're playing their third string quarterback. So I wouldn't look for any of the Titans wide receivers or quarterback or tight end to do anything. If you're in a pinch, Hassan Haskins, the running back for the Titans, filling in for Derrick Henry, might be able to get you 10 or 12 points. But aside from that, not much from the Titans. Cowboys side, they're going to run up the score, look for guys like CeeDee Lamb and Zeke Elliott, as he's going to be not sharing the backfield with Tony Pollard tonight, it looks like. They have good games.
Speaking of Pollard, you mentioned he's going to be out. If someone has Pollard in their league, who might be a good substitute for him this week?
Yeah, we've got a couple sleepers. One running back, if you're without Pollard. If Tyler Algier is somehow on the wire, or if you're in daily fantasy and want a good running back with a good matchup, he's playing against Arizona. Tends to let a lot of people run on him and score on them. So he's auditioning for a job in 2023. I think he was a 4th or 5th round draft pick, so they didn't spend much draft capital on him. So he's kind of auditioning for a job next year. So look for him to have a good game. You're looking for a quarterback. Mike White back under the center for the Jets and plays against the Seattle team that can certainly be thrown on. He's auditioning for a job in 2023 too. If he impresses the next 2 games here, look for him to be the starter on a Jets offense that does have some weapons. So Mike White's a sleeper at quarterback. A couple of wide receivers for you. We like Jacoby Myers for the Patriots. Should be a higher scoring game against the Dolphins. It's a must-win for both teams. Really like Jacoby Myers, especially in PPR formats. And then one more wide receiver for you. We like Curtis Samuel. Jahan Dotson's been hot for the Commanders, but Wentz is back under center for them and has good rapport with Curtis Samuel. So we like him to possibly get 80 or 90 yards and possibly score there for the Commanders this weekend.
A couple questions here from listeners. Darren, who to start? Trevor Lawrence or Josh Allen?
I can't justify benching Josh Allen ever. I mean, unless it was a meaningless game and they were only going to play a half, that'd be one thing. But Trevor Lawrence has been hot. He's certainly adequate in terms of fantasy, but you don't bench Josh Allen.
Big game for them too. Cincinnati Bengals. A lot of eyes down here on that one too. Here's a question. They have Alvin Kamara. Kamara, of course, his status kind of up in the air. What's a good pickup potentially to replace Alvin Kamara if he ends up not playing for the Saints this weekend against the Eagles?
Yeah, like I said, Tyler Algier is a guy that you could play. If you're looking for somebody to pull off the waiver wire, I talked about Hassan Haskins, but you'd be committing to that since he plays tonight. He's probably the best in terms of availability on the waiver wire is Hassan Haskins. Otherwise, just pray that Kamara plays. He would be a pretty good match or a pretty good play this week for you if he does indeed play.
Darren Teakin, whotostart.com, Fantasy Blitz here on After Further Review. Darren, you still got the promo code Santa going on there?
We do, yeah, and that goes for a year. It's a yearly subscription, so if you sign up now, you'll be good through all of next year and into the playoffs of the next year as well, obviously.
So get over to whotostart.com, into the promo code Santa, personalized fantasy football advice from the guys over there. They do great work. Dan, we appreciate the time today and all season, man. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Happy New Year.
Absolutely. Happy New Year to you as well. That's Darren Teakin, whotostart.com. Taylor, jump on real quick. You said you're in your championship again for fantasy?
Yeah, not going to brag. 2 years in a row. They didn't win last year. Not looking great for me, but I have Zeke tonight. He has Pollard. He has to replace him, so I got a shot at coming back.
Okay. All right. And are you excited about the game? I mean, Cowboys guy, right? Yeah,
I think they're going to take care of this. No Henry, no Tannehill, no nothing offensively.
You're not scared of Josh Dobbs is what you're telling me.
No, I haven't seen Josh Dobbs play since he threw a Hail Mary to Jawan Jennings at Tennessee like 10 years ago.
Yeah, that happened. I remember that. And Vern Lundquist lost his mind, and it was just fantastic. I miss Uncle Vern. I really do. I know I know a lot of people listening to this don't, but there was just few things better than that man's. Oh, wow. Like, it was just great. He got so excited and it wasn't even like the biggest plays. He just got hyped up. Well, Taylor, good luck. Hope you bring it home.
Me too.
2 out of the last 3. Hope you bring it home. Little dynasty building. Good luck. And look, man, 5:30 Thursday Night Football preview. Bring you back in. You can rave about your Cowboys a little bit more. How about that? Good? All right, good. We're going to grab a break. Come back. Hour number 2, is next. Sam King from the Journal and Courier previewing the Purdue Boilermakers in the Citrus Bowl versus LSU. We got Sports Center coming up next. Then Sam King, Paul Nolan still to come in hour number 2 as well. It's a Thursday edition of AFR. Stick around.
AFR.
Cornell Toyota in Opelousas is here to help you ring in the new year with no markups, and you'll never pay over MSRP. And we have new inventory arriving daily. So Happy New Year from our Corvell Toyota family to yours.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on a new 2022 Ford F-150, plus no payments for 90 days and 2.9% APR for 72 months. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
My dad just really enjoyed his life, and he enjoyed smoking cigars and thought he was invincible. My stepdad quit smoking, and he really felt like he was in the clear. Sorry. I wish they would have been screened annually. It's not just you affect, it's your entire family.
For more information on Ochsner's free smoking cessation program and to see if you qualify for early lung screenings, visit ochsner.org/quit.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
You ever heard the tale of the misunderstood bull? A menacing beast that was born to float. A force of nature. The embodiment of grace. Quite grand, yet quiet and nimble. The Infiniti QX80.
Experience the Infiniti QX80 at your local Infiniti retailer.
This is SportsCenter.
Brazilian soccer legend and three-time World Cup champion Pele has died at the age of 82 after a battle with colon cancer. Pele, one of the most commanding sports figures of the last century. Late in his career, he did help popularize soccer in North America by joining the New York Cosmos. NFL Cowboys running back Tony Pollard with a thigh bruise is out tonight against the Titans. Tennessee will start recently signed quarterback Josh Dobbs over struggling rookie Malik Willis. In addition, the Titans have ruled out several defensive starters tonight, wanting to be as healthy as possible for a win and in matchup in Week 18 against Jacksonville. Even if the Titans do get into the postseason, their playoff run likely will be a short one, believes ESPN Titans reporter Teron Davenport.
They're struggling to score points. They've had turnovers. They're struggling to protect the quarterback. They're struggling to stop teams from passing the football. It's been just a mixture of things that just is, I've never seen anything like it, to be honest with you.
Teron Davenport on Greeny. Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren's emerged as a top candidate to become the next president, CEO of the Chicago Bears.
Hi, this is Max Kellerman from Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. All of us here at ESPN Radio would like to wish you happy holidays and a happy new year.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Hour number 2 of After Further Review. Matt Musso filling in for Scone today. Grant Lanero on the audio board and Taylor Sharp on the video production. Busy hour 2 coming up. Saints injury report, get you an update there. It's interesting, as well as the Eagles. The Saints injury report gets a little worse. The Eagles gets a little better. We'll get you a full report on that momentarily in the next segment. Paul Nolan at the bottom of this hour, freewinners.net. Paul will be here in his weekly spot. We'll get a pick on Thursday Night Football, see what he likes this weekend in the NFL as well. And then Todd Graffinini and Mike Triplett still to come in hour number 3. Let's head up to West Lafayette, Indiana, get a closer look at the Purdue Boilermakers. We welcome on Sam King, covers Purdue for the Journal and Courier. You can follow him on Twitter at Samuel T. King. Sam, we appreciate the time. How are you?
Doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. So I wanted to start kind of with a big picture surrounding this game from the Purdue fan base's side, where a lot of people down here, Sam, I'll tell you, have kind of likened it to the situation LSU was in last year for the Texas Bowl against Kansas State, where you have an interim head coach, a whole host of opt-outs, and I can tell you there wasn't much enthusiasm from the fan base surrounding that game. What's kind of the vibe like up there around Purdue and heading down to Orlando?
Well, it's not quite LSU of a year ago. The quarterback is actually going to be a quarterback. Yeah. It's not the typical starting quarterback. But, yeah, there's a lot of people who are frustrated or you just don't understand why some of these players are opting out. Unfortunately, with the situation being a coach leaving and you have an interim head coach on top of that, just the way that the college football world works nowadays, you have a lot of players who have opted out of this game to prepare for the NFL or have entered the transfer portal to kind of seek elsewhere to continue their college careers. So with that said, there's a lot of big-name guys who have been a part of Purdue's success this season who will not be playing in this game, and that leaves a lot of players that people probably haven't heard of or don't recall their names except for maybe on National Signing Day when they ink their names to letters of intent to come to Purdue. So it's an opportunity, I think, for a lot of guys who fans don't know a lot about, but that said, it's a lot of players that don't have much experience at the college football level.
How has the bowl prep gone? Obviously, with Brian Brom now in there as the interim coach, you mentioned the opt-outs, but Jeff Brom also took assistants with him already to Louisville. So just with all the change, distraction with that, how has bowl prep really gone for the Boilermakers?
Yeah, some of the staff who has remained will depart and go to Louisville after this game. But, I think it was important to kind of leave some of the staff behind and say, hey, this is our season. Let's finish it out with our guys. And, rather than just kind of ransack the coaching staff and leave nothing behind. A big get was Drew Brees deciding to come on as quarterback's coach for this game. He didn't have to do that. I think he saw the situation and said, hey, this is an opportunity where I can help. I don't want to be, a full-time coach, but I can come in for a few weeks and lend my experience and my knowledge to this group while it prepares for LSU. So that definitely doesn't hurt to have that guy at your practices, helping your quarterbacks, your receivers, so forth and so on. But I think it very much is, kind of Brian Brom taking the reins here offensively, and then Mark Hagan, who was a co-defensive coordinator, is going to call the defense. So maybe not as big of a change as you would think, but still definitely an adjustment. The good thing is you have a month basically of bowl preparation to get ready for one team.
Yeah, the Drew Brees angle is certainly interesting, and certainly one that caught a lot of eyes down here with all the good and wins and philanthropy that he brought to the state of Louisiana in his time with the New Orleans Saints. So definitely a fun angle there. You mentioned him working with the quarterback, so I want to talk to you about Austin Burton, who's going to step in for Aiden O'Connell. Has some playing time already this season. How different, if at all, will the Purdue offense operate with Burton under center as opposed to O'Connell?
Well, I think you can do some different things with an Austin Burton. He's definitely more mobile than Aiden O'Connell, who basically strictly was a drop back passer and stay in the pocket and pick you apart because he's very accurate and knows every read, knows the offense like the back of his hand. Austin Burton has the ability to run. He didn't run a whole lot in the start that he had earlier this season against Florida Atlantic, but he has that capability, and I think it opens the playbook a little bit. And then when you talk about the pass catchers who won't be playing in this game, mainly Charlie Jones and Payne Durham, the top two receivers on the team, I think you're going to have to add some wrinkles to the offense and some things that LSU probably hasn't seen on film yet this season.
Talking with Sam King of the Journal and Courier, covers Purdue. You can follow him on Twitter at Samuel T. King. Of course, LSU and Purdue in the Citrus Bowl. Sam, you mentioned the receivers being out. Kind of who fills that void for Purdue with no Charlie Jones and no Payne Durham?
Well, they have some guys, they have receivers. I just think that because Charlie Jones had this incredible 1 year at Purdue where he transferred from Iowa and caught over 100 passes, was, probably the second best receiver in the Big Ten behind Marvin Harrison Jr. You take that guy out of the equation, and it's just opportunity for other guys. T.J. Sheffield has been a very capable receiver throughout his career. Mershawn Rice. I think Paul Piferi will probably step into that tight end role, and he's a guy that, when he catches passes, people go nuts just because it's something that doesn't happen very often, but they love to see the backups get their opportunities. So it's a chance for him to really have a big game. Last year, Purdue played Tennessee in the Music City Bowl, and David Bell had opted out, and he was the do-everything receiver, and people kind of wondered the same thing. Who's going to step up and catch passes? And you had a whole host of guys that had huge games that maybe people didn't expect, one of those being Brock Thompson, who was the MVP of the Music City Bowl last year. He's been hurt all year long, so I don't think you're going to see him. But I think they also probably, especially when you consider the defensive line opt-out for LSU, maybe Purdue tries to establish the run game, which is maybe not its trademark, but Devin Maccabee is a walk-on redshirt freshman who actually now is on scholarship, but was a walk-on this season, and he's nearing 1,000 yards. He's done a much better job late in the season of being a safety valve as a pass catcher, and he's a very dangerous weapon. He's really shifty in the way he runs. So if Purdue can establish a ground game early, maybe that's a route that they go to try to keep this a competitive ball game.
Sam, if we could, I'd like to switch sides of the ball to the Purdue defense. And look, LSU's got their own opt-outs in the receiving core as well, but they are going to have Jaden Daniels at quarterback. How does Purdue match up with the LSU offense, especially with the mobility and versatility of a Jaden Daniels?
Yeah, I think this game is tailor-made for a Jaden Daniels because you had a lot of departures on the defense, whether it was, their best cornerback, Corey Trice, has opted out. Jalen Graham, kind of their safety/linebacker and a leader of that defense, he probably wasn't going to play anyway. And then we've known for a while he's not going to play, but now he says he's going to try his hand at the NFL. And then the defensive line, those guys all have entered the transfer portal. So you're going to have a lot of guys who have not played much college football out there on the field. And you're talking about a dual threat quarterback where, you really have to be assignment heavy and respect him as a runner when he rolls out, but also know he's not just a runner. He has the capability to throw it over your head and hurt you with his arm. So I think, I would expect Jaden Daniels probably is going to be somebody who has a big game here for LSU.
And lastly, special teams. Look, LSU's had their fair share of missteps in that unit for sure. How does Purdue's special teams match up in this game? And if, per se, it comes down to a kick, is that something that they feel comfortable in?
Well, they won the Music City Bowl on a field goal in overtime last season. So got a fourth down stop on the 1 yard line and then kicked the field goal. Mitchell Finneran, who transferred last year from Stanford, was probably better than Purdue had hoped for a year ago, and he's been pretty reliable for the most part this season as well. So I think, if the weather is adapted to kicking, then they feel probably pretty comfortable sending Mitchell Finneran out there for a chance to win the game because he's shown that he can come through in those pressure situations in the past.
Sam King on Twitter at Samuel T. King covers Purdue for the Journal and Courier. Sam, we appreciate the time. Thank you and enjoy the game.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. That is Sam King and covers Purdue for the Journal and Courier. Tigers and Boilermakers, January 2nd, Monday, this coming Monday from Orlando, the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. LSU still sitting at about a 14.5-point choice in that game. Our coverage all day Monday will be a normal game day. We'll operate like it's a Saturday in the fall. Hanny and I will be at Rouse's at 8 a.m. for Eagle 98.1 game day. Go from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Hand it off to the network. Of course, kickoff is at noon. And then after the game, you'll have Whiskey and Wine with Matt and T-Bob over at Don Juan's Cigar Bar. And then Hanny and Richard Dixon are back at Rouse's for post-game following Whiskey and Wine. So no local shows that day. We'll treat it, as I said, just like a game day, but have you covered wall-to-wall. LSU and Purdue. We put a button on the LSU football season, and it's been a very eventful one and one filled, I think, with a lot more pomp and circumstance maybe than many expected, and the chance to win 10 games, which is massive. But I guess, as I said the other day, filling in here on AFR, one thing I'm very excited to see is your first look really at the 2023 LSU Tigers. So, I mean, you return virtually your entire offense next year, and you'll get a good look at a lot of key pieces, including Jaden Daniels and the running back position and Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas and all that, and defensively as well. So it's a rough draft because you don't have the recruits in yet or even the early enrollees, but a rough draft of what the 2023 Fighting Tigers will look like, and they project to be pretty darn good next season in year 2 under Brian Kelly. Finish out year 1 first, though. Don't want to get too ahead of it. You can do that with a victory over a shorthanded Purdue team that has an interim head coach. We're going to grab a break, come back on the other side, get you updated on the New Orleans Saints injury report. It is out as they look to take down the Philadelphia Eagles. They got to win out in order to make the playoffs, and they need the Bucs to lose out. That starts Sunday up in the city of brotherly love. So get you a check of the Saints injury report when we come back here on a Thursday edition of AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. As we move toward the new year, of course, Rouse's is a great option for everything you need in and around the new year for that gathering or just for your groceries every single day. Get to Rouse's and go to rouses.com. You can learn about their delivery and pickup options there at rouses.com. It's super easy. Or download the Rouse's app. You can go select your items. Your personal shopper will go pick them out for you. You pull up into any Rouse's location, of course, the designated location, and your shopper will bring the items out to your car, so you don't even have to get out the car. On days when it's either freezing cold or raining, that's super handy. And remember, they also have a delivery option as well, so if you don't even want to get in your car or get out, Rouse's takes care of you there as well. It's at Rouse's. Rouses.com, Rouses.com, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Locations all over the place. Get to Rouse's. Rouse's, this feels like home.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Black Widow Jeep Gladiators in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more
After further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
We remind you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com. That's where you can check them out, Michelli.com. Remember, at Michelli, they do offer ISO 17025 accreditation. You can learn more at Michelli.com and other accreditations and standard calibrations as well. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. All of their different services and products are at the website. The website is a great virtual font of resources. So many times clients will say, oh, I didn't know you did that. So go to Michelli.com. The track system that they offer is a great asset. Track records, assets, and calibrations. It's an acronym. And what this allows you to do is track the status of the calibration of your devices, and then it also gives you a record of those calibrations at your fingertip online for free 24/7, 365, so you can be more efficient. Michelli Weighing and Measurement.
Back here on a Thursday edition of After Further Review, Musso sitting in for Moscona. Get you a look at the Saints injury report here momentarily. Just remind you again, Paul Nolan in the next segment, freewinners.net. Get your pick on Thursday Night Football and what he's watching for the weekend. And also Otter later the show to close it out in his normal spot for Otter Locks. Thursday Night Football, bowl games, Colucci. It's Thursday. I personally am looking very much forward to the Colucci pick. Play them often and win them often as well because the man's pretty darn good at what he does. So Otter Locks still coming as well, and Paul Nolan in the next segment. Okay, New Orleans Saints. Their latest injury report has dropped. We will certainly go over it here and certainly go over it again with Mike Triplett when he's with us at 5:15. There's some good news on the injury report for New Orleans, but where I want to start is obviously with Alvin Kamara. Kamara did not practice on Wednesday. He did not practice again today on Thursday. Quadricep is one of the things listed there for Kamara as well as a personal. I don't really need to tell you why that's so massive. I think you know, if you've watched the New Orleans Saints, when they've been at their best this year offensively, Alvin Kamara has been a massive part of that. What you do at running back kind of goes up in the air without Alvin Kamara. Mark Ingram is likely done for the season. I mean, you're really just going to lean on David Johnson? That's not a great option. I don't think if you're the New Orleans Saints. What you should do is just pound the ball with Taysom Hill if there's no Alvin Kamara. But him not practicing Wednesday or Thursday, again, you'll wait for tomorrow. If he doesn't practice tomorrow, he's likely out. But already not practicing Wednesday or Thursday, that does not lend favorably to him playing in a must-win game for the New Orleans Saints. I mean, if you lose, you're eliminated. Your season's over. Hell, even if you win, the Bucs win, your season's over. But, I mean, it is, people don't like to throw around must-win all the time, right? And, it's a must-win game. It's week 4. No, it's not. This is a must-win game because if you lose, your season is over. And you very much would like to have Alvin Kamara if that is the case, but that does not look overly promising there. So what you would do at running back becomes a massive question if you're the New Orleans Saints. Marcus May also did not practice yesterday or today. Andrus Peat, who got carted off the field against Cleveland with the ankle, he has not practiced yet this week. And Dwayne Washington, again, running back, what you going to do? If Kamara can't go, you don't know Dwayne Washington. You're just going to lean on David Johnson again? No, don't do that. Not a great plan there. Ryan Ramczyk did return to practice, which is big. Chris Olave, that's the other one to really highlight. The hamstring, of course, missed the game against the Cleveland Browns. He's limited Wednesday, limited again today, but hopefully that leads to him playing. You obviously would want that. And then Marshawn Lattimore, man, that's kind of going to be the question. It's been the question for the last 10 weeks as well with the abdomen. He's been limited again, following kind of the same schedule that he was the previous 2 weeks. He hadn't played, so we'll see. And then Pete Werner, who missed the game against Cleveland. Pete Werner, also with a hamstring, limited the first 2 days of the week, Wednesday and Thursday. For the Philadelphia Eagles, I wish it was a little bit better news for the New Orleans Saints, in all honesty. Jalen Hurts returned to practice today in a limited capacity, but after missing last week against Dallas and not practicing yesterday, having him back on a Thursday is big. Now, would he be 100%? I'm not sure. Would he even play? I'm not sure, but him being at practice is a good sign, as is Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders, also a DNP on Wednesday, returned limited. Look, I don't have to tell you how great the Philadelphia Eagles offense has been with those two guys running the football, Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders, but also how great they've been against the New Orleans Saints in the past running the football with Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders. We've talked about it all week. When the Saints had that long streak of 50-some-odd games without allowing a 100-yard rusher, it was broken at the hands of the Philadelphia Eagles with both Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders going over 100 yards in the same game. So having those two guys back at practice, that changes the complexion of this game. If they're able to go, New Orleans is at a extreme disadvantage. They're already at a disadvantage. If those guys go, it's an extreme disadvantage for the New Orleans Saints in that one. For what it's worth as well, Lane Johnson, tackle. That's the other one that everyone was keeping an eye on for Philly. He did not practice again today. So didn't practice Wednesday, didn't practice Thursday. That's something at least that works potentially a little bit more there in the Saints' favor. But again, it didn't get too much better for the Saints. Did get better for Philly. We'll see.
Did Michael Thomas, is he going to play or is he still out?
Go away, Taylor. Leave me alone. No, he's not going to play. Go away.
You know what they should do?
What?
They should name the weekly injury report after Michael Thomas. You could call it the Michael Thomas injury report.
Stop that. The Cowboys are going to lose in the first round to the NFC South winner. Get over it. That's
probably correct.
Yeah, that's what they do. That's what Dallas does.
This is very true.
They lose to most likely the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but they stink. And Dallas should win that game, but they won't. And you know what? It's gonna be a Dez Bryant type thing where, did he catch it or not? We don't know. It's gonna be one of those. Heartbreak. Get out, Michael Thomas injury report. How dare you? Anyway, no. Michael Thomas did not practice. He's out for the year. Anyway, but get back on track here. Going forward, biggest question for me is Alvin Kamara this week. So we'll get an update from Mike Triplett when he's with us at the bottom of, at 5:15 in the next hour on plenty of the injuries and just kind of what the Saints go forward here. And when they announce Sean Payton coming back as well with Tom Brady, we'll ask Mike about that as well. But Saints Eagles Sunday. Currently, New Orleans is a 6.5-point underdog in that game to the Eagles. And again, they want to keep going forward and with hopes of playoffs. They have to win out their last 2 games against the Eagles and against Carolina, and they need the Buccaneers to lose out. And look, they have Carolina this week. They've lost Carolina once this year, but you need a little too much help. And then Carolina, even if Carolina beats the Bucs to keep you alive, and you somehow beat the Eagles and you beat Carolina still will end up with a tiebreaker over you there. So I mean, it's just there's a lot of things that have to happen for New Orleans to do it. It feels like this week will probably be the end, quote unquote end of the season, and you'll move forward from there. But look, they got to play the game still, and there's uncertainty surrounding quarterback and running back for Philly, but got a little bit better today. So Saints Eagles noon on Fox. Again, Philly 6.5-point favorite in that game. All right, we're gonna grab a break. Come back on the other side. Paul Nolan, freewinners.net. You know what to text. 313-GET-INFO. That's 313-438-4636. Paul sends you the free picks when you do so. He'll join us next as well to explore some of those free picks, tell you more about freewinners.net, and hopefully continue to hand out winners. Guy's been on fire. He's been on fire in the NFL so far this season. We'll grab a break, come back with more. AFR rolls on next.
AFR.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Jimmy Ott's Game Time, weeknights from 6 to 8 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
121-126-74. Offices in Baton.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
AFR is brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. I want to remind you that we're getting toward the new year. It's almost New Year's resolution time, but you can get a jump start on that New Year's resolution. If it's to get in shape, to lose weight, to look and feel your best, hormone replacement therapy could be the option for you. The Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana are a nation's leader. They were voted the nation's #1 aesthetic practice in the country back in Las Vegas at the National Aesthetic Show. And they're right here in Baton Rouge. So schedule that consultation. Go have that blood draw, run your labs, and let them tell you if hormone replacement therapy could help you feel like your younger self again. You can learn more online at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com.
Back here on a Thursday edition of After Further Review, Matt Musso sitting in for Matt Moscona right now. We welcome on Paul Nolan from freewinners.net, 313-GET-INFO, 313-438-4636. That's the number to get started with Paul and his people. Get you 6 free picks to start out, 313-GET-INFO. Paul, we appreciate the time as always. How are you?
I'm excellent, my friend. How you guys doing today?
We are doing pretty darn good over here. Well, we'd be doing a little bit better if the Thursday night game was a little bit better. This one feels like a bit of a dud.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a 2-touchdown spread, the third-string quarterback starting for Tennessee. But, Paul, I'll ask you anyway, you got anything you like tonight?
Well, when this line was 10, I could find, look, I'm a big home dog guy. I just live by it, especially these nationally televised games, especially in a coaching mismatch. No one's going to tell me Vrabel's not one of the best coaches in this game, and sometimes I question McCarthy and his game management. I think sometimes he's a little bit I think the game gets ahead of him sometimes, so I'm not a huge fan of him. Sometimes I even question Dan Quinn and some of the things he does on the back end. I mean, they're insistent upon playing man all the time. Has made it really easy for them to be susceptible to really big plays. I still like this defense. I guess you can get away with it when you have some good athletes on the back end and you have such a superstar pass rush as they do. Again, though, I just don't understand. I like to see them disguise some coverage now and again, but at 10, this Dallas team, when they have the lead, one of the things I thought was really interesting is that when they have a lead passing, increases, their EPAs increase. Most teams, when they have a lead, they reduce their passing plays, they reduce the risk of their pass plays, and they dial up really high-end, big outcome plays. And it's kind of strange to me, but when they do have a lead, they run also at the fastest pace per play in the game. So I was thinking if in a live betting situation, if somehow, some way, Tennessee gets an early lead, I would think in a live betting situation, Dallas would be a good spot only because I do believe they're going to put up points. I do believe it's a team that knows they have to bring everything tonight. The big unknown for me is, Joshua Dobbs. I just don't know what to expect, and nor does anybody else. And anyone telling you different, telling me they game plan to this is lying. They're scrambling right now in the room, digging up every piece of film they have when he was with Pittsburgh, every preseason game he's ever played. And they're going to do the best they can to find out whatever tendencies he has. And they're going to adjust as fast as possible early on.
With the live play on Dallas, what size are we looking at there? Is that one of the 1% plays there?
Yeah, I would keep it simple, just enough to make it interesting so you're not stuck watching Dancing with the Stars or America's Got Talent. I mean, it's unbearable, unwatchable television. So I'd much rather see people, stay smart here in America and avoid those nonsensical shows. And so if Tennessee comes out with a 3-point lead, maybe you get this game at 10. If they score their opening drive, maybe you get this thing at 8 or 9, and now you're laying a civilized number with a team that Dallas is not they have something to play for here. People act like they don't. And like I said, this is a team that has no problem running it up when they can. I'm just a big Vrabel fan. So I know he'll have his boys rallied and ready. 14 is a lot of points in a backdoor cover. So it's hard for me to make any real case on the game on this one. So
Paul Nolan, freewinners.net. Again, text free to 313. Get info free to 313-438-4636. Paul, anything you're liking this weekend, Sunday action in the NFL?
Yeah, there's a couple games we love. What I want guys to know is also that if they text, they'll also get, tonight, they'll get, they'll get the Alamo, Washington, Texas. Love that game. That's going to be on the record, the free text back. I'll give them games on tomorrow. I'll give them bowl games on Saturday, Sunday, right through Monday. On Sunday, there's a couple games that I'm looking at that I like a lot. I thought there was some tremendous values on the board. And just getting to my game notes, the first thing I wanted to look at was Bears and Lions. The Lions are another team that we were really going through the EPAs when teams have leads. Lions are a team that also increases pace of play, and they have a 9% increase in expected points added per play when they have a lead. It's a team that really needs to protect a lead through the passing game. And now, the Bears have, this is a team that, let's be honest. I mean, that secondary has been protected by bad weather and a running game that marches its way on. It holds the ball quite a bit. Now that running game, you could see they're almost trying to get away from the designed runs it looks to me as that way, that they want to see Justin Fields, pass the ball a little bit more. But in a game like this, I'm sure he's going to have at least 6 or 7 design runs. He'll have 6 or 7 scrambles, and we know he's going to get his 75 to 90 and better on the ground. I think he's going to get his yardage. And that three-headed monster with Khalil Herbert back and not looking his best last week, I'm sure he'll look better in an indoor environment this week against the Lion defense. They gave up 320 rushing yards last week. This is a team that, when facing running quarterbacks, have really had their troubles. Josh Allen got 78, and they got 164 as a team. When they played Fields last time, they got 147. If you remember, it was a freezing cold, windy day, and they were stacking the box. They ran for 258 as a team. When Jalen Hurts played them early in the season, week 1 or 2, if I remember, he had close to 100 yards. And even Aaron Rodgers had 40 yards on 4 carries, 10 yards a clip. And this is a team that really is, started to show some hope defensively against the run. So I'm certain that the Lions are going to give up their yardage, give up their points, but I know that Detroit will score at will. This total was 47.5 early in the week. This to me is, if anyone's afraid to call, I understand, people don't want to get on calling lists or mailing lists or whatever it may be. We don't do any of that. We keep everything internal. We'll just send free picks. But to go over in Lions and Bears, that's a really, really good value. My total on this was 51.
I'm looking at 52 right here. So he likes the over.
I'm sorry, 53. I'm sorry. 53? Forgive me. Okay, but I still think over 52. And this was 49 early in the week when we gave it to our clients.
So over 52 Lions and Bears. That game kicks off 12 p.m. Central Time in Ford Field at Detroit. Over 52 Lions Bears. And then look, Paul, you mentioned the Alamo Bowl tonight. That's the nightcap. Handicapping the bowl games, it's a different animal than I can tell me how you really feel. Different animal with opt-outs and who wants to be there and things of that nature. How do y'all go about it at freewinners.net?
I'm not going to act like it's easy. It's not. I mean, there's so much effort. We have an 8-man crew who really fights tooth and nail to get into the minutia, who's going to play. We just beg everybody we know close to the field, no kids who played there, just any relationship in anywhere we have. We'll beg and borrow and plead to give us whatever they know about who's playing, what's the game plan, what's the future look like, what's the real motivation here, and it's difficult. That's why we've been relatively conservative on the bowl games. It's getting harder and harder year after year to, and listen, the business is the business, and you can't begrudge some young man he's got life-changing money ahead of him opting out, and all the people have the opportunity to jump into the transfer portal at this point right now. I like the portal, and I know it's harder as a handicapper, but look, as a kid who played college, my son also played college sports, coach speak is intoxicating, and these kids get lured in to go play somewhere, and they had options elsewhere, and they get, caught up in the glimmer and the glitz, and maybe going to a higher end program, and then the coach just buries them or moves on. I like the fact that these kids have an option to find the best fit for them moving forward. So I think it keeps coaches honest, and I think it's better for the kid, and it's better for his future, and I think it leads to better football down the road for the NFL.
And the pick for Washington and Texas in the Alamo Bowl tonight is on the recorded message, you said, correct?
Yes, sir, absolutely. And every game in the bowl, there'll be one a day in the bowls. Tomorrow we'll definitely have a game. Same thing Saturday, Sunday, but we'll also give 3 best bets on Saturday in the bowls, and then the 3 best bet on Sunday. And then we have our Monday night game of the year. And we're not the kind of group that has, a game of the year every 3 hours, like a bus stop. We have our NFL game of the year, our college game of the year, and our Monday night game of the year. And we're so glad we saved it for this one, because it's a huge matchup for really essentially home field advantage, possibly.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of eyes on that one here, if not for anything other than the Bengals and their beloved here with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and a host of other former LSU players from 2019. But they always do a solid number, the Cincinnati Bengals in Southeast Louisiana. 313-GET-INFO. Text free to 313-GET-INFO, 313-438-4636. Paul Nolan of freewinners.net. Paul, anything else on freewinners.net before we let you go?
Yeah, no, it's up to you. I don't know how much time we have, but I was going to give away a free teaser bet if people were more interested.
Absolutely.
But just to protect, I just want to give more to the audience down there. Has been great to us. The response by people texting 313-GET-INFO is free. 313-GET-INFO has been great, and it's really good people in your audience, so we appreciate it. So the other thing I was going to say is I can't stop going back to the Steeler Baltimore Raven well. When these teams play at this level, and you can cut through the 3. And the 7 and the 8. So to me, getting 8.5 with Pittsburgh, no one blows out anybody in these games. And listen, the Ravens offense is not functioning all that well. And both of these teams are playing with a great deal of heart defensively. To me, Mike Tomlin is still one of the elite coaches, as is John Harbaugh. I think this will be a tight to the vest fight, drag it out, just a fist fight. And with the low total, it increases the value of that 8.5. So I think there's a tremendous value taking the dog in that one. And I think as well, when you kind of look at this Viking-Packers game, I think the market has completely overreacted to the love affair they have with Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay, the storied franchise, and the kind of misleading win they had last week. They were getting manhandled and eviscerated defensively last week. So I still think Minnesota, while the whole market has kind of turned on them, and they're a fraud, and they're the worst 12-win team we've ever seen, and blah, 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 blah. Who's going to cover Jefferson? Yeah, you say Jair Alexander, but he's not going to be on his side, and he doesn't travel. And they're going to keep him away from him. And, the mismatches in that, I think they'll keep it going. And Green Bay cannot cover tight ends to save their lives. Hawkinson is fit in like a glove. I think getting them already plus 3.5, now possibly up to 10. You talk about a team that just has lived on the backdoor cover with a banged up receiving crew for Green Bay. I like them in that position as well.
So let's see. That's a teaser with Pittsburgh at 8.5, plus 8.5, and the Vikings plus 10. You said?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Look, he's had a great NFL. Paul Nolan's had a great NFL year. If you hear him here on After Further Review, you hear him with Jimmy on Jimmy Ott's Game Time and
the Oddfather
and Football Sunday. The Oddfather, the Otter. Hey, man, when you need an angle, call the Oddfather, right? Paul, we appreciate the time as always, man. Thank you, and we'll do it again next week.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much. 313-GET-INFO, text free. We promise we won't put you on any kind of call list. So thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. That is Paul Nolan. Wish him and his staff a happy new year. Just to go back over it one more time for you. So again, text free to 313-GET-INFO, free to 313-438-4636. 6 free picks right there. You heard him there. We won't put him on a mailing list or anything. Just winners. Paul, tonight, crappy game. We all get it. But if you get a chance to potentially live bet Dallas at 9 or 10, he likes that. 8.5 in there as well if the Eagles get the early lead. And on Sunday, likes over 52 in the Bears and Lions game. Paul said when he handicapped it, his total came out to 53. Sees good value there. And then the teaser he gave out there as we close the segment, Pittsburgh plus 8.5 teased with the Vikings at plus 10. And again, for more picks, more winners. Text free to 313. Get info 313-438-4636. We will grab a break. Still plenty to come. Final segment of the second hour. That's going to be Tigers and the pros. Then in the final hour of the show, Graf will talk Pels. Mike Triplett talking Saints and Eagles, and Otter to close it out with Otter Locks, Colucci picks, bowl games, Thursday night football. We got plenty more to hand out to you here on AFR. Thursday shows are brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Get over to the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel, smash the like button, and stick around as we close out hour number 2 next.
AFR.
Love telling you about River City's 1 hour air. 752-0001. 752-0001. Love telling you about River City's 1 hour air because I love telling you about great companies that treat people right. That's River City's 1 hour air. They make you feel valued, and they make you feel comfortable. When you schedule service with River City's 1 hour air, when technicians come into the house, you get a phone call, an email, and a text message alerting you the technician's on the way. You get a text message with a picture, a photo, name, and reviews of that technician who's coming to your house. They take the time to explain everything. They're very thorough. They have equipment on the truck because they're so big on continuing education. They have equipment on the truck other companies don't even own, never even heard of. River City's 1 hour air. Nights, holidays, weekends, they'll always come out. They'll never charge you extra. River City's 1 hour air. Got a problem with your home central AC? Call River City's 1 hour air. 752-0001.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. The former comptroller at the Capital Area Transit System sued the bus system after a leaked drug test showed he tested positive for methamphetamine. John Cutrone was terminated in the fall following bills not being paid on time and employees' health insurance being in limbo. Katz says it's investigating the allegations in the lawsuit. His lawyer tonight is defending Cutrone and saying the drug test violated his rights. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on a new 2022 Ford F-150, plus no payments for 90 days and 2.9% APR for 72 months. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you. Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This winter, meet the heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Season of Performance.
This winter, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona. Presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, rolling along here on a Thursday edition of AFR. A good show, jam-packed show, man. We've already blown through 4 guests, and we got 2 more left to go in the next hour as well. But before we get to that, let's wrap up hour number 2. How we wrap up hour number 2 every single day, and that's with Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Kentucky's Best Hemp. Find them online at kysbesthemp.com.
Lee Michaels Fine Jewelers. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelers brings you Tigers in the Pros. Joe Burrow named AFC Offensive Player of the Week after a stellar performance against the New England Patriots. Joey B completed over 70% of his passes, threw for 3 touchdowns, threw for over 2 bills in the first half, and is firmly in the NFL MVP conversation. So another great honor there for Joey B, AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Thursday Night Football tonight. We've talked a good bit about this game already, just there with Paul Nolan. It's a stinker, but you will see a couple former LSU Tigers out there on the field. Christian Fulton, keep an eye out for him with the Tennessee Titans. He's turned in a pretty solid year there. And then Damone Clark for the Dallas Cowboys. Damone seen some good action and made some nice plays for Dallas, which that continues to be just one of the better stories. Obviously, going through what he did with the back injury and getting back and getting back in time to play this year. So, Damone Clark in action for Dallas.
Does that mean
tonight.
You're going to pull for the Cowboys
No,
tonight?
absolutely not.
You kind of just made it seem like you were going to.
Absolutely not. I'll be honest. Unless I bet on the game, I probably won't watch it because it's just a terrible game. Yeah. I mean, and I'm not going to lay 14 points. So, I mean, I don't know. And I think the Titans are. I don't even know if they're going to backdoor that with Josh Dobbs, who they signed off the practice squad 8 days ago. Not even their own practice squad. So I don't know. I might find something else to watch tonight, sports related, besides that game. But you should watch and keep an eye out for Damone Clark and Christian Fulton. NBA action last night. Ben Simmons and the Brooklyn Nets, they won their 23rd game of the year, 108-107 over the Atlanta Hawks. Ben, 25 minutes in a starting role, shot 50% from the floor, totaled 10 points, 5 boards, and 2 assists. Cam Thomas held out coach's decision. And then Naz Reid for the Minnesota Timberwolves put on a really nice first quarter in the blender last night versus the Pelicans. In all, 25 minutes off the bench for Naz, 5 of 8 from the floor, scored 13 points, 6 rebounds, blocked 2 shots, and had 1 assist, plus 6 for Naz in the game last night. Of course, the Pellies got the victory, come from behind. Zion Williamson, 119-118, but another solid game for Naz Reid. NBA action tonight, where you could potentially see some former Tigers. The Houston Rockets, they visit the Dallas Mavericks. Keep an eye out for Tari Eason in that one, continuing a strong rookie campaign. The Rockets will probably get destroyed, but Tari Eason, can he have another great night for Houston in his rookie campaign? We'll let you know if he did tomorrow on AFR during Tigers in the Pros. That is this edition of Tigers in the Pros. It's brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Get over to Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry for all your jewelry needs. You're going to pop the question on New Year's Eve. Get over to Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Let them help you out with the ring. Getting ready to wrap up hour number 2 here of After Further Review. 1 more hour to go. Musso sitting in for Moscona. Matt will be back on Tuesday. That's when the vacation ends. Well, and of course, you'll see him on Whiskey and Wine Monday after the LSU Florida State. That's the second time today after the LSU Purdue game. Tomorrow on AFR, Mario and I will co-host that edition of After Further Review as we send you into the new year. Give you final thoughts on LSU and Purdue, Saints, Eagles. Definitely be a lot of Pelicans talk when they host the Sixers tomorrow night in the blender. And speaking of Pelicans talk, that's what we have coming up next for you. We're going to grab a break, Sports Center, and then the voice of the Pels, The radio voice of the Pels, Todd Graffinini, will join the show. We'll recap the win over the Timberwolves, talk the current 4-game winning streak, look forward to that game against the Sixers, and also some Zion MVP. That's going to be brought up as well after he drops a career-high 43. So SportsCenter and Graf next here on a Thursday edition of AFR.
AFR.
Remind you about South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. That's southpointvw.com. Get on by, test drive any of their line of vehicles over at South Point. Remember, I tell you all the time, 9 different IIHS top safety picks. It's the highest safety designation a vehicle can get. It's one of the reasons I love driving my Volkswagen is I know every time I put Drew in his car seat and I'm driving, I'm in one of the safest vehicles on the road. Erica drives a Volkswagen. Every time she leaves the house in her car, I know she's driving one of the safest vehicles on the road. And by the way, they're stylish and affordable and fun to drive. It's at South Point Volkswagen. Remember, the all-electric, first electric SUV for everyone, the Volkswagen ID4. You can make your reservation right now at southpointvw.com. It's South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
Corval Toyota in Opelousas is here to help you ring in the new year with no markups, and you'll never pay over MSRP. And we have new inventory arriving daily. So Happy New Year from our Corval Toyota family to yours.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Richards Honda is a smart choice for people because we're concerned about their time. We're concerned about their experience. What we've tried to do over the years is create a process that's a little bit bendable, that can be tailored towards each individual person. Not only do we want them to buy a car from us, and not only do we want them to get a great deal, but we want them to be excited about the deal. We want them to be happy with the deal. And we really want them to be happy with the choice they made to do business with Richards Honda.
Come visit Richards Honda today for your new or pre-owned vehicle. I-12 at Millerville Road or at richardshonda.com.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
You ever heard the tale of the misunderstood bull? A menacing beast who was born to float. A force of nature. The embodiment of grace. Quite grand, yet quiet and nimble. The Infiniti QX80.
Experience the Infiniti QX80 at your local Infiniti retailer.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this.
Christine Lisi, Brazilian soccer legend and the only man ever to win 3 World Cups, Pelé has died at the age of 82 after a battle with colon cancer. Pelé, one of the most commanding sports figures of the last century, did help popularize soccer in North America late in his career by joining the New York Cosmos. ESPN soccer analyst Fernando Palomo.
Whether he was the trademark of what a great player was for me growing up, and then came Maradona, and then came Messi, but everybody just following on the footsteps of the king of the sport. He transcended the game. He became an ambassador for the sport.
NFL, Cowboys running back Tony Pollard out tonight against the Titans because of a thigh bruise. The Titans will start quarterback Josh Dobbs tonight, just 8 days after signing him off the Lions practice squad. Rookie Malik Willis has struggled. Starter Ryan Tannehill out the rest of the regular season after ankle surgery. Chargers designated edge rusher Joey Bosa to return from IR. He's been out most of this season recovering from groin surgery. Bosa's return expected to provide a significant boost defensively for playoff-bound LA.
Hi, this is Max Kellerman from Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. All of us here at ESPN Radio would like to wish you happy holidays and a happy new year.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Welcome back in. Hour number 3 of AFR. Musso sitting in for Moscona, Grant Lanero, and Taylor Sharp along for the ride as well. 2 hours in the books, and here comes the home stretch. Mike Triplett will join us in the next segment. We'll preview Saints and Eagles, get some updates on some injuries for both teams as well surrounding that game. Saints need to win in order to keep their season alive and also need the Bucs to lose. So uphill climb for New Orleans and playing the best team in the NFL, but we'll talk to Mike Triplett about that in the next segment. Jimmy Ott to close the show with Otterlocks as well. But we start the final hour talking perhaps the most interesting team in Southeast Louisiana right now. That is the New Orleans Pelicans, now winners of 4 straight, 22-12 overall, back atop the Western Conference standings. We're joined now by the voice of the New Orleans Pelicans, Todd Graffanini. Graf, we appreciate the time. How are you?
It's Christmas, and there's no Christmas music anymore.
Well, I mean, Christmas is kind of, it's past now. The NBA season has officially started. So now we can just enjoy it. We can just.
I'm enjoying it.
I'm cool. Graf, I don't know if I've enjoyed December basketball more than I have this season. That team is just incredibly fun to watch. So I want to talk about a lot of different things, obviously, but I want to start with the current 4-game winning streak. And one thing that I think has been blatantly obvious, especially the last 2 games, is they've been better defensively than they were in the 4-game losing streak and even early in this 4-game winning streak. So what's kind of allowed them maybe to turn the corner back to their defensive ways?
Yeah, I think you're seeing a much more attention to detail. Not that there wasn't before, but I just think you're seeing it come back to the forefront. It really started over the weekend in that back-to-back against San Antonio and Oklahoma City, which seems like it was a month ago, even though it was last weekend. But during the losing streak, they just weren't doing the things that had gotten them to the position where they were prior when they had won 7 games in a row. They were turning the ball over a lot. They were allowing too many offensive rebounds and second chance points, and they really started to clean that up. And just not allowing those easy buckets at the rim, which Utah did and Phoenix was able to do, and no matter for that fact, Milwaukee did as well. So, but again, even if you go back to the losing streak, so it took a superhuman effort by Devin Booker, who scored 58 points for Phoenix to win in that game, and then took another effort like that for Milwaukee with Giannis and Brook Lopez had 31 points, and they did a really good job on Zion Williamson. So if you're going to beat the Pelicans right now, you've got to have almost out-of-body experiences to do it. and it just kind of shows you what we have here when you're talking about the depth. Because, you go back to that back-to-back San Antonio, Oklahoma City, as I just talked about, the Pelicans were far from full strength and were able to win both of those games. And, of course, on Monday, you beat Indiana with 10 healthy bodies, with no frontline guys. And that was very impressive. Indiana beat you pretty handily in Indianapolis early in the season. And then, of course, last night was just a war. And big number one took over, scoring 33 in the second half and a career-high 43. So the Pels, that's one of the advantages they have over other teams, Matt, is that they can beat you in a lot of different ways. And it's been just a real joy to watch.
You mentioned Zion and the 43 points, scored the last 14 points for the Pelicans in the game. Look, career high, obviously, he's been incredible this year, but that's kind of what I want to know, right? Zion, he didn't play at all last year, all right? You knew he was healthy coming into the season, but are you at all surprised, Graf, that he's been this dominant this early in the year after not playing at all last season?
I would say yes, but no, because he's that good, and he has been. I just think this year is different because he came in shape and he came in healthy. And what you're seeing now is, look, he was that dominant offensively 2 years ago when he played in 62 games. He had the 20-game, the 25-game, 20-point streak and 60% shooting. He was being compared with Shaquille O'Neal and Kevin McHale. So this was happening 2 years ago. What has made him a different player this year is that he's assisting the basketball. He's rebounding. He's blocking shots. He's getting steals. As you saw, the biggest play of the game last night was a defensive play by Zion. He's become a much more rounded basketball player on both ends, and his basketball IQ, which was already very, very good, is being even high. It's gotten higher this year because he's playing basketball again. I guess that would be the most surprising thing, the fact that he got back into it this quickly, having taken so much time off. But everything was always there. But now we're seeing it in all aspects of the game. And look, when you got a guy like that on your team, you've got a big advantage going into any game you play.
Todd Graffinini, the radio voice of the New Orleans Pelicans, on Twitter at @NTGraf. One more guy I wanted to kind of single out and ask you about before we move forward and look to what's ahead for New Orleans, and that's Trey Murphy. Year one to year two, Trey has been playing with remarkable efficiency. Last night, a great example of that. Attempted 8 shots, ended up with 21 points.
No question about it. Trey is really coming into his own. And you had a feeling this was going to happen in the offseason. That kid probably made more strides than anyone a year ago. You remember, he actually got sent to Birmingham last year. He went to the G League because he wasn't getting enough minutes. And when he was in there, I think he just was suffering from a lack of confidence. Well, he went back to the G League. He didn't pout. He kept working. He tore up the G League so much so that he came back to New Orleans pretty quickly. And when Willie Green put him back in the lineup the last couple of months of the season, he was making impact. He shot the ball spectacularly, and his best games were really in the most important games down the stretch. The key for Trey is this year, number one, he got even taller. He is a solid 6'10". He grew over the summer. He's a solid 6'10". He's got the wingspan. He can shoot it from anywhere on the floor, but he has really stepped up his game on the defensive end. And he has become a rebounder and a shot blocker as well, and it's just a lot of fun to watch. But you had a feeling he was going to make that leap, and when he is knocking down shots like he was last night, when he can just sit on the wing and bury those long, long jumpers, that just opens up your offense completely, because when you've got Zion Williamson driving into the paint, everyone's going to collapse on Zion, and that's going to leave wide-open shooters on the perimeter, and when Murphy's knocking them down, it is really, really difficult to stop this offense.
All right, looking forward now to what's in front of the New Orleans Pelicans. I think first, are they going to start getting healthier again? Like, you get Zion back last night, you get Trey back last night as well in that game. everybody's looking at Brandon Ingram. Obviously, there's been, videos of him getting shots up or whatnot. Willie Green says he's still not there. Herb Jones as well. Is there anything you can offer on either of those two guys and a timeline for a potential return?
Well, nothing yet on Brandon, but Herb is listed as questionable. So, again, he's just trying to get back into it. A lot like Zion was. Remember, Zion was out 9 days in health and safety protocols and actually missed the last game, the game prior to last night, the Indiana game, because he was reconditioning. And that's where Herb is right now. Herb was in the building today at practice. So that is a very good sign because Monday he wasn't even in the building. So obviously he's out of protocol if he's back with the team. So he's just got to get back into a conditioning sense. So I would imagine we're going to see Herb much sooner than later. And he's listed as questionable for tomorrow night. We could possibly see him on Saturday when we go up to Memphis in what's going to be another very important game. So we'll see about Ingram. He's getting shots up prior to games. He's going through his routine. Saw him running on the treadmill during practice a couple days ago. So he's getting there, but he's just got to get to a point where he's very confident in what he can do as far as pushing off. You mentioned post-practice today. It's just, some days he feels great, some days it doesn't with the toe. And it's really the push off, the spring, that he's got to get that confidence back, knowing if he does it, he's not going to have a setback. Because he was kind of close a couple of weeks ago when we were actually in Phoenix, and then he had a setback, and then he had to be reevaluated in a week. So that toe deal, man, that's a shaky issue. As a matter of fact, he hurt it against Memphis the last time we played him about a month ago. I mean, if you see the replay, he really, really jammed it on the back of Dylan Brooks' heel. So this is an injury that set back Desmond Bane, who's an outstanding player for the Memphis Grizzlies. Bane had the exact same injury, and he was out a month. So Ingram and Bane is back now, but he's still getting back into what we call a rhythm for him. Ingram is not quite at that point, but it's an injury that can really, really keep you out, and you got to err on the side of caution right now because you need a healthy Brandon Ingram when we make that stretch run for the playoffs coming up. Really in February is where it really starts to kick in.
All right, lastly, Graf, before I let you go, get a thought on tomorrow night's game. The Pels will host the Sixers in the Blender, first of the two-game season series there. Sold-out crowd expected tomorrow night in the Smoothie King Center. Last year, Pels lost both games against the Sixers, and both games by 10 points, but they both occurred before New Orleans kind of hit their stride down the stretch. So how do the Pelicans match up with the Sixers in 2022-23?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Of course, it all starts with Joel Embiid, who's just having a monster year yet again. They had just won 8 games in a row and had their winning streak snapped in Washington a couple of nights ago. Well, Embiid scored 48 points in the game, and they still lost. So, look, Embiid's a dominant force. He's inside. He's mid-range. He's 3 points. He gets to the free throw line double digits every single game. James Harden is their point guard. He hits a double-digit assist guy every night. Harden gets to the free throw line as well. So you got to deal with those two guys first and foremost. Tobias Harris is a 50-40-90 guy. He's a real, glue guy on their team. But the real X factor is Tyrese Maxey, who's been out for a month with a stress fracture in his foot. Well, guess who's coming back tomorrow night?
Yep.
Yes, Tyrese Maxey, listed as probable on the report. Maxey is really a guy that can score, but what he does for them on the defensive end is key. And the thing is, they're very, very deep. They're very similar to the Pelicans. They can go 10, 11, 12 deep. Matter of fact, they played 12 guys in this Washington game that they lost a couple nights ago, and they won 8 games in a row without Maxey. So they're just getting him back, and that's only going to add to him. So the thing about it is they're 6-8 on the road, so they're vulnerable when they're away from Philly, and you got an opportunity here. But, again, the way the Pels are playing at home, 15 wins, that's the most wins this early in the season. Since the 09-10 year, we got, sellouts every night. The team's feeding off the crowd's feeding off the team. I mean, bring on anybody right now in the Smoothie King Center. It's just going to be a whole lot of fun. I can promise you that.
Let's go. Look, the brand of basketball that they are playing is a whole lot of fun. You're absolutely right on that, and the city is 100% into, which is great to see after all the noise that the city had to listen to last year and in years prior about that. So Pellies and the Sixers tomorrow night, an important stretch beginning for New Orleans tomorrow night in the Smoothie King Center. Graf will be on the call. Raph, we appreciate the time as always. Enjoy the chat, and we'll do it again soon.
Thanks, Musso. Happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year to you too. That is Todd Graffinini. I have a couple more thoughts on the Pelicans that I want to get to maybe a little bit later on in the hour. Right now, we got a break. Come back on the other side, and Mike Triplett from New Orleans.football join the show. We'll talk some Saints and Eagles on the other side. It's after further review. Stay here.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Black Widow Jeep Gladiators in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
This winter, meet the heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Season of Performance.
This winter, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the Integra.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is here to help you ring in the new year with no markups, and you'll never pay over MSRP. And we have new inventory arriving daily. So Happy New Year from our Corvell Toyota family to yours.
Off shipping boxes, mailers, or tubes when you buy 5 of the same item in store or online with 1-hour pickup. Staples, the best kept secret in shipping. Ends 12/31. Exclusions apply. Visit staplesconnect.com/shipping for details.
If you like burritos, which you do because everyone does, you should try Taco Bell's Chipotle Ranch and Salsa Verde grilled chicken burritos. These masterpieces start with a warm flour tortilla that we stuff with grilled chicken. But the real stars here are the bold sauces, Chipotle Ranch or Salsa Verde. In fact, the chicken is the stage upon which these sauces shine. Like this mic is a stage for me to spotlight my theatrical range. 2 chicken burritos, 2 bold flavors, $2 each. Order on the Taco Bell app. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time only. Contact local store for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra while split.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Saints coverage with some Mad Libs mixed in.
Why don't you just
Go by Mike.
It's time to talk black and gold with Mike Triplett of New Orleans Football, presented by Benny's Car Wash, family owned and operated since 1951.
Saints visit the Eagles Sunday at noon. Eagles 6.5-point favorite in that game. Preview it now with Mike Triplett, New Orleans Football. He's on Twitter at Mike Triplett. Mike, we appreciate the time. Thank you very much. How are you?
Doing well. I haven't followed the line closely. Did it change with news of Jalen Hurts returning to practice today?
I'll be honest, I haven't followed it that closely either. I would imagine that it did get a little bit of a tick up with Jalen Hurts returning to practice today, now standing at better than a touchdown, but I'd be lying if I told you I knew for sure.
Well, I feel like that makes a big difference in me as a prognosticator. I mean, he's the MVP, one of the leading MVP candidates for a reason.
Yeah, no, he's been great. No, he's been fantastic.
Feels like the Saints 2022 season, doesn't it?
It does.
Can't catch a break.
Yeah, he's not the first where, multiple times you've seen a player traded to the team right before the Saints are going to face them or whatever. Look, it's and somehow, Mike, they're technically still alive for the NFL playoffs. Let's actually start with Jalen Hurts, though, and Miles Sanders, for that matter, as well. Those two guys both returning to practice today for Philly. Both of those guys have been a thorn in the New Orleans Saints side in the past. How does that matchup really look this year with a Saints defense that has really struggled against the run?
Yeah, and look, they were a thorn in the Saints side when the Saints had arguably the best run defense in the NFL in recent years. And down the stretch last year, the Saints defense was spectacular, but just not against this team and not in this place where also bad luck, they've had to play 3 years in a row because of the way the schedules have worked out in the line. But, it's something they haven't mastered, and it's not just the Eagles. I remember back in week 1 when they sort of played that conservative-style defense to make sure they don't allow the quarterback to get through a rushing lane against Marcus Mariota. Well, Marcus Mariota beat that, and so did Cordero Patterson, and it was very reminiscent of those games. They were a little better against Lamar Jackson. They did some nice things against Deshaun Watson last week, but it'll really, really be a test of this defense that hasn't been as good and consistent as years past, that they can finally unlock nuts in recent years.
It'll be a challenge, that's for sure. I mean, it's we kind of joked about it there at the beginning, the bad luck, but I mean, the Saints injury report didn't necessarily get better, and the Eagles it did. Speaking of the Saints injury report, not to make this totally an injury segment, but again, that's been the Saints season as well. Alvin Kamara did not practice for the second day in a row. Dwayne Washington did not practice for the second day in a row. Mark Ingram is likely done for the season. If Alvin Kamara cannot go, what in the world, Mike, do they do at running back?
Well, we think Kamara is going to be able to go.
Okay.
It was a personal thing, not related to injury or anything. We don't know that for a fact, but hopefully look for his name to be back on the practice report tomorrow. Without him, it gets really dicey. I mean, they have David Johnson. They would pick some, they've had some mid-season additions that they would promote from the practice squad. But be slim pickings. It's amazing how valuable he is to this team, especially if he's not. Maybe we'd see a heavier dose of Taysom Hill, but we should be seeing more of that anyway.
Yeah. I mean, what was it, 28 minutes into the game against Cleveland before the first carry? I know that was a gripe that Minnie had after that one. Marshawn Lattimore, is this the week that we see him back, or is that even on the table? I mean, they're potentially about to be eliminated. This injury's been a little bit more serious than I think they had originally thought. Is it worth putting him back out there?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's so hard to peg because I would not blame him or them or the doctors if they had reached the conclusion that it was not worth it. But then we're seeing him ramp up his activity in practice every week to the point where last week I thought it really looked like he was going to play, and then he's back out there again this week. So it certainly seems like they're making every effort toward him getting on the field for at least the last couple games of this season. So, I'm out of the predicting what's going to happen with Marshawn Lattimore based on the information business. because this has been a unique injury. And look, I don't blame them one bit. A lacerated kidney. It's so hard to decide when it's safe for him to start resuming contact. But I think he's going to play before this season is over. But we're down to 2 weeks now, so it becomes a lot harder to believe that.
And then really the last injury one that I have is Chris Olave, who's been limited all week.
Yeah, he's been back. Yeah, he's been back, though, and that's a good sign. I mean, again, every injury question has to be taken with a little bit of a grain of salt because, they maybe will be more extra cautious with these guys at this stage of the season with the playoffs being such a long shot. But obviously a lot more promising this week. Last week he was not on the practice field at all, so limited is a big upgrade for him.
All right, obligatory Saints playoff scenario conversation. It's funny, Mike. I said the other day, they won. They're still alive, yet it feels like their road somehow got tougher even after a win. You play the Eagles.
Because of the way Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Again.
Looked like they were going to lose, and then they're like, oh, wait, we're supposed to wake up and chill up now with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter? Yeah, the Saints saw that same movie a couple weeks before, that same nightmare scenario. But, yeah, look, I mean, if the Saints win at Philadelphia, which is an extreme – I mean, that's the biggest if of all of these scenarios. If the Saints win in Philadelphia, then they just need Carolina to beat Tampa. That's the easy part. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we'd be going into the final week saying, wow, this is a real thing. The Saints beat Carolina, Tampa loses to Atlanta. That's it. But so that's 4 games that have to go a certain way. You add that all up, the odds are very slim. And I think the hardest part of the equation is winning at Philadelphia. But if they did, then sure, we can talk playoffs next week if you want to.
Hey, I mean, look, I guess you always want the team to make the playoffs, but it does seem like an uphill battle, an uphill climb for sure. Mike.
Well, I mean, but it's this matchup, I think, that is makes it the most unrealistic of the whole scenario. But on our podcast this week, Kevin Washington, one of the co-hosts, he made a really good point. He said, all of the Saints wins this year have come against, struggling teams or up and down teams or inconsistent teams. So, teams that are basically in the same boat as the Saints. And a win like this is the win they haven't had this year. It'd be nice to see them get a signature win. And, it maybe be all the more frustrating that the games that they lost, if they showed their potential late in the season with their first 2-game win streak turns into their first 3-game win streak, win at Philadelphia. But what the heck? Let's see their best win of the season, even if it's all for naught.
And look, if you want to be overly positive, if they do beat the Eagles, the Panthers have already beaten the Bucs once this year, so it's not that far out of the realm of possibility. Maybe if you're looking to be overly positive. Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.football. He's on Twitter at Mike Triplett. Mike, before you go, more smoke around Sean Payton and the Saints, and this time Tom Brady's name has been thrown into the mix. It's not the first time we've heard this report. I mean, everybody remembers 2020. Payton and Brady have the same agent. What are we to make of the latest smoke surrounding this?
Yeah, look, I mean, you can't completely dismiss it because it's coming from somewhere, and it's come out a couple times now. And I would, by interpretation, it feels like it's coming from a Peyton adjacent place, and if that's where his interest level lies, then I guess good for the Saints that they're still held in that esteem. But every indication we've gotten is that the Saints are not thinking that way. The Saints are not going to pin the blame of this season on Dennis Allen, and they're going to remain committed to Dennis Allen, and they're not wooing Sean Payton. So I think that part of it is the part that I have the most trouble wrapping my head around, and it's really kind of unfair to Dennis Allen because when you get the fans wanting Sean Payton back, that's going to in turn make them want to push him aside even more. So I can only imagine that Dennis Allen and the Saints probably don't love seeing these rumors, but hopefully everyone is happy in the end with teams falling all over themselves to trade like supreme draft capital to the Saints for his rights, because that's the best case scenario to come out of all of this, I think.
He is Mike Triplett, again, NewOrleans.football, and follow him on Twitter at Mike Triplett. He's here every Thursday on AFR during the football season. Mike, we appreciate the time, and maybe next week it's playoff scenarios.
I know. We just need two things to go the Saints' way, and then we could be talking about it.
Fingers crossed. We appreciate it, Mike.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. That is Mike Triplett. On the Sean Payton, Tom Brady thing and what he said about it's not ideal necessarily with having everybody wanting to push DA out in favor of Payton. And that goes back to, I mean, you remember when Sean Payton announced his retirement, the press conference, and that question was brought up to him then. Is there a possibility for him coming back? And he immediately shut it down then, saying, no, that wouldn't be fair to whoever's next here. You know, if they go 1 year and I'm ready to come back and would want to come back, they wouldn't be fair to the next person. Well, that next person ended up being Dennis Allen, and here we are in that situation. And it feels like every week the rumors around that just continue to grow, and it gets more and more smoke. And where there's smoke, there's fire. We went over it the other day on Tuesday when the report broke. I also believe that Dennis Allen will be back next year. That's not the move I would make. They don't ask me. I'm not in the front office. I'm not in charge. But the only way I think you wouldn't make that is if it was for Sean Payton. But if I was in that front office, I would have to have the guarantee that he's coming back and it's for a extended period of time. And that doesn't seem to be in the cards. And them moving on from Dennis Allen doesn't seem to be in the cards. But look, man, the rumors are going to continue to swirl, and you're going to continue to hear about it. And now they're throwing in Brady's name with it too. So as long as the rumors continue to swirl, we'll continue to talk about it. That's just how this thing works. All right, we're going to grab a break, come back on the other side, give a brief little preview of Thursday night football, and then we'll get to Otter Locks. Jimmy will be with us. He'll have some picks tonight. Colucci will be along as well, some hockey picks to close out the show. So stick around. 2 more segments to go here on a Thursday show presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. It's after further review.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. It's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, and the G team just keeps on growing. Actually, some pretty fantastic news as Trey Morgan has rejoined the G team for another year. Malik Neighbors as well. Of course, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys doing amazing work in the community. Like we talked about the 500 bike giveaway that they did for young people, less fortunate people in our communities around the state of Louisiana. Just another way that Gordon is able to give back. But also through NIL opportunities as well for some great college athletes and using those partnerships. A really cool video, if you haven't seen it yet, on their social media with re-announcing Trey Morgan rejoining the Get Gordon team for this upcoming baseball season with Gordon and Trey at the bike giveaway. So make sure you check it out on the Gordon McKernan social media. Go to Get Gordon on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys on Facebook as well. If you've been injured and you need an attorney, you know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, Call Hudco Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This winter, meet the heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Season of Performance.
This winter, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Remind you about GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. Home buy, refi, construction loans. You know where to find them, GMFSmortgage.com. Hey, look, I know interest rates have been such a huge talking point. As, you know, in recent months, we've seen rates tick up from their insane all-time lows in the last couple of years. But rates are still great right now. In an historical perspective, rates are fantastic. Even if you're looking right now thinking, man, I'll wait till the market goes down. There's so many options you have. Maybe if you're still anticipating rates going up, you get in now before rates go up, and when the market corrects, you refi. That's just an example of something you could do, but my highest recommendation is if you're thinking about owning a home, stop renting, start building equity, build wealth. Talk with a local loan officer at GMFS Mortgage. Learn more online at gmfsmortgage.com.
All right. As we continue to wrap up a Thursday edition of After Further Review, get you an update here from the Cheez-It Bowl. Oklahoma, they lead Florida State 14-3. The Noles on a drive just outside the Sooner red zone and now are in the Oklahoma Sooner red zone. Oklahoma just missed a field goal in an attempt to extend it to 17-3. So 14-3, about 7.5 minutes or so left in the second quarter there in Orlando in the Cheez-It Bowl. Tonight, Thursday Night Football, the Cowboys will face the Tennessee Titans. Dallas is a 13.5-point choice in the game. The total set at 40.5. We'll get Otter's thoughts on a really stinky game, honestly, tonight. But plenty on the line for Dallas. They can still clinch a share of can still win the NFC East over Philadelphia. They need a little bit of help from the Eagles. But it's still within reach, and it can't happen if they don't win. They will be without Tony Pollard tonight, but Zeke is set to go. The real story is Tennessee. They're extremely shorthanded and going up against a juggernaut of an offense. But the Titans are obviously going to be without Derrick Henry tonight, and Josh Dobbs is making the start. And Josh Dobbs was just claimed by the Titans 8 days ago off of the Lions practice squad, and now he's going to go and make a start. It probably won't go great for Josh Dobbs in Tennessee. But look, man, the Titans, they also have something to play for as well, because they're now looking up at the Jacksonville Jaguars in the AFC South. Jacksonville taking over that division last week. So there's plenty on the line. It's just not a very appealing game when you consider players that are out, and it's a better than a 2-touchdown spread. But that's what you got. That's kind of Thursday night football in general, right? And that's been Thursday night football definitely this year. It's tough for the road team to go and win, but Dallas, given everything that the Titans are suffering through, it shouldn't be too monumental of a task. But it is the NFL, and any given Sunday or any given Thursday, I guess. In this case, Taylor, how you feeling about your boys tonight? Dallas, they're a runaway victory here?
Probably not, because it should be. I know we had this conversation a couple weeks ago. I told you they'll lose to Jacksonville. They'll beat the Eagles. That's exactly what happened. Tennessee's not going to do much offensively. Dallas's defense ranks around the top half of the league. However, it's been pretty bad in recent weeks. I'm not thrilled about that. Tennessee has a terrible defense, 23rd in the NFL in total yards. But here's the kicker here, Musso. They only allow 80 yards rushing per game. That's Dallas's bread and butter. They're giving up, though, almost 300 passing yards per game. You know me, I like to keep the ball out of Dak's hands. I like to keep it on the ground. So that's going to be a little bit of a struggle. And again, while they're giving up a ton of yards, they give up 360 a game. They're only giving up right at 20 points. I mean, that's not great, but it's not a ton of points given up either. And one of the best third down defenses in the league is Tennessee, just 31% conversion rate against them. So look, this is not going to be easy by any means for Dallas. They should have success, but you got to convert third downs. You got to score in the red zone, which they've struggled with recently as well. So yeah, I think it'll actually be a little bit tough. They could maybe pull away late, but it should be a struggle for the most part.
We'll see how it goes. Dallas and Tennessee from Nashville tonight. That's Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime, 7:15 kickoff there. Before we get to auto locks, I did say earlier after we talked with Graf that I had a few more Pelicans thoughts that I want to get to, because I'm just all in. Like it has literally been the most fun and the most interested I've been in an NBA season this early. I mean, from watching the opener when they skunked the Nets and just following closely ever since then. I've watched more early season NBA basketball this year than ever before, and it's because the Pelicans are just so interesting and it plays such a fun brand of basketball. But what I wanted to talk about was Zion Williamson and the MVP. Because y'all, that's real. Like last night proved it, just how real it is. It's one thing for an arena to chant MVP for the best player. It's another thing for that player to actually be in the MVP race, right? And Zion is in it, and for my money, Zion should be leading it, especially after last night. Last night is the game you look back on as what officially launches Zion Williamson for MVP. That's the game that launches that campaign, because that game was just, I think Graf called it a war, and it was. It was an all-out war. It was very close in the first quarter, and then you kind of got down in the second quarter. The Minnesota was kind of able to keep the Pels at 7, 8 points or so there. You had to scratch, you had to claw and fight back, and Zion Williamson took the game over in the second half, scored 33 points. He scored the last 14 points for the New Orleans Pelicans, leading them to that 119-118 win. And it's not just the offense that Zion had, the defensive plays as well. The clutch steal and transition dunk late in the fourth quarter down the stretch, as well as part of those 14 points he scored. He's doing it everywhere. Defense, offense, and he's also sharing the basketball. That's something else we talked about with Graf. It was funny. Trey Murphy, after the game, so Zion hits that clutch three down the stretch. That made it 112-110. Really got the Pelicans kind of back into it in the final minutes there in the fourth quarter. And Trey Murphy who assisted who assisted Zion on that dunk, and Trey after the game said I kind of owed him one. He assists on so many of my threes, and Graf touched on that too. That's the difference in Zion this year is he's sharing the basketball. He's assisting his teammates, and he's just becoming a more complete player. And every facet of that was on display last night. Sure, you look at it and you see the career high 43 points, but it's everything that went in there. He is absolutely 100% in the MVP conversation. And look, man, he could be leading it. And I'll say it one more time. He's going to be there at the end, provided he stays healthy. He's going to be in that conversation up to the end of the season. And if he ends up winning that award, even if he doesn't end up winning that award, you look back at December 28th versus Minnesota in the Smoothie King Center as the game that officially launched Zion Williamson for MVP, that officially launched that campaign, where it could be real that you start talking about that and having that conversation. And get ready, because we should be having that conversation for the rest of this season. He's awesome. I mean, he does something each game at this point that it's just like, man. And now he's kind of starting to develop that outside shot. If Zion Williamson develops an outside shot, is over. Like, it's over. That guy will be cemented as one of the best players in the NBA for years to come, if he's not already there. We'll grab a break. Come back on the other side. We'll close out a Thursday edition of After Further Review. Jimmy Ott joins us for Otterlocks. Stay here.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery, 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siega near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Any of the 4 locations, tell you every single day. Buy local, shop local over at Clegg's Nursery. As we head toward the new year, remember, this is the perfect time of year to plant trees and shrubs. They have a great selection of citrus trees right now over at Clegg's Nursery. So maybe you want some privacy shrubs from your neighbors. Clegg's has a great selection, great inventory, so get on by and see our friends at Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations, you know where they are all over town. They've been an institution for more than 60 years. And remember, Clegg's is partnered with True Value Hardware Store. So anything you'd find at a True Value Hardware Store, you'll also find at Clegg's Nursery. So if you're a green thumb or a do-it-yourselfer, it's one-stop shop at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Time doesn't stop and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications. The powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution. A network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana Loyal. Always.
Have you ever heard the tale of the misunderstood bull? A menacing beast who was born to float. A force of nature. The embodiment of grace. Quite grand, yet quiet.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
A touchdown for the Florida State Seminoles, 2-point conversion, good. 14-11. Oklahoma leads that one with 3:40 left in the first half. Bowl games tonight, Thursday night football tonight, Colucci tonight. Time for Otter Locks with Jimmy Ott.
What's up, Musso?
How's it going, Otter?
Going good over here at Jolie Pearl. Out the way. Tampa Bay and Washington. Tampa Bay and Washington. So the Lightning and the Caps.
All
Very
right.
early picks. He comes on at 6:30. He will give out his later picks at that time. So we got that going on. We got the man's horn. What's wrong, Musso?
Well, I'm at the desk. I'm at the desk. Grant, do you see on there? I have a Colucci horn on there.
Musso, Musso, hit the horn, Musso. Come on.
Bong! There it is! Colucci! All right, lightning and Caps for Colucci's early picks.
All right. So I hope you're getting time and a half for substitute teaching.
What?
The teacher's gone. All right, Texas and Washington. And this line opened up 3.5, went to 6 immediately. Now it's back down to 3. Is there a bigger opt-out than Bijan Robinson and all of the yards that he has had this year? A bunch of touchdowns as well. Not only that, but his backup is out as well. Some linemen are out. Quinn Ewers will play, but we'll see how Quinn will do without a lot of his help. Washington on the other side, Michael Penix led the country in passing. I believe 11 of 12 the games this year. He had at least 300 yards. Not just a dual-threat quarterback anymore. I mean, a runner. He is turning into a great passer. And Kalen DeBoer, it's kind of one of them. When the team is excited about their bowl placement, that first-year coach it's been good. Worked again for us with Texas Tech last night. They're kind of looking for something positive to build, to rebuild, to help the rebuild. Well, same spot here for Kalen DeBoer in his first year for the Washington Huskies. I flat out think the wrong team is favored in that one. We're going to go with Washington plus the 3, pretty much plus 3, holding at 3, pretty much everywhere you go. I'm going to give you one for tomorrow afternoon.
Okay.
And in Pittsburgh and UCLA, you missed the opportunity if you didn't get it at 6. It's up to 7.5 now. Pittsburgh, well, we know their quarterback is out. We know their top running back is out. Addison left before the season. Also, their bowl placement. Also, they played in their New Year's Six Bowl against Michigan State last year, representing the ACC as the ACC champion last year. This year, not so much. How about the leaders on your team? Your captains? Those guys are leaders, right? Let's see, they got 4 of them. So,
all right.
Captain number 1, you play? No, I'm out.
Oh.
Captain number 2, what about you? I'm out. No, 3, out. No, 4, none of them. 0 for 4. And the captain's playing against UCLA. Make sure Dorian Thompson-Robinson plays. He's there. Kind of hasn't declared. He's practiced all week, taking all the snaps with the starters. He's expected to play, but make sure he's playing before. We're going to take UCLA minus 7.5 in that one.
Otter, we got about a minute or so left. Nothing for Thursday night football tonight? I mean, it's a stinker.
Nothing, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about a sinking ship, bud. I mean, some kind of they upset the football gods when our general manager, we're in first place this year. we won the division the previous 2 years. We had the best record in the conference. Let's fire them. Oh, football gods don't like Tennessee on that one. And a big win to kind of bounce off of. It's a lot of points on the road, but that's a stay-away spot for me, Moose. So I'll leave that one to you.
No,
I'm
I'm staying away from that one as well. I don't want any part of that.
Get something out of you.
I don't want any part of 13.5 on the road. Jimmy Ott, Otterlocks, he's over at Jolie Pearl tonight. Colucci will be there 6:15, and I've watched it on the Jimmy Ott's Game Time Facebook page or right here on 104.5 ESPN. Otter, we appreciate it as always, man.
New Year, sir.
Happy New Year, Otter. Absolutely. That is Jimmy Ott. Otter, Washington +3, UCLA tomorrow -7.5, and Colucci likes the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Washington Capitals. That's going to do it for us here on a Thursday edition. Thank you to Grant. Thank you to Taylor. We'll be back tomorrow to wrap it up.
AFR.
Williamson.
EYE.com. They've got locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. On the Baton Rouge General Campus, I mean, you turn off a Bluebonnet onto Picardy, you make that right. And then right there at the stop sign, the building on the right, the first 2 floors, that's the Williamson Eye Center. State-of-the-art dry eye center, and it's full service. Of course, they have their state-of-the-art surgery center there where you can have your LASIK or whatever surgical procedure you're having. But they have your standard annual eye exam as well at the Williamson Eye Center. Learn more at WilliamsonEYE.com. The thing I tell you every day is take the advice that I was given and change your life. To give yourself the gift of sight is absolutely incredible. If you're someone like me who spent your life with contacts or glasses, there is a way to be done with it forever. WilliamsonEYE.com. Go see Dr. Blake Williamson for that free consultation. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEYE.com for